And we're live. What's up, everybody? We're here. It's Tuesday night. There's a lot going on. Actually, shortly after we're ending the podcast last week, footage started going crazy on the internet about everything that happened with George Floyd. We're going to talk about a lot of that tonight. We're going to talk about what's happening with the protests. We're going to talk about what's really happening on a deeper level, and a lot of things that people are missing about all of this, and kind of shed light on some things that we've been seeing over the years and things that we've been discovering and seeing come to fruition through all of this, because it's a lot deeper than I think a lot of people see. So we appreciate everybody who's watching right now. And you're watching Young Lion TV. Let's go. Young lion, everywhere I look, they dying. Everywhere I look, they dying. Young lion, everywhere I look, they dying. Everywhere I look, they dying. Young lion, won't you get up and stop fighting? Everywhere I look, they're hiding. All right, a couple shout outs already in the chat. Gregory Boyd, my mom's watching. What's that? Kenosha Lloyd and Gene Anderson. Hey, y'all. Everybody make sure you share this stream, share this video, because we got a lot of content. We got a lot of videos to get through. We're going to be watching a lot of stuff tonight. We're going to be commentating on a lot of stuff tonight that's out there that people have been posting. There's so much footage. There's so many things to break down. There's so many things to talk about. And hopefully we can kind of give people a different perspective than they're getting from all of the divisiveness that's out there. We understand that everybody's real emotional right now. Everybody's really hurt right now. There's a lot of pent up anger that is coming out right now, which is understandable. All of our lives, I've seen things like this happening, every so often, where people get outraged because of the trauma that we've received from different establishments, whether it's the police overstepping their bounds with aggressiveness. I've experienced, we've all experienced it at different times, where it's like unneeded aggressiveness from police. But there's more to it than that. There's a lot more to it than that. And I think a lot of people aren't understanding how deep this goes. And I think a lot of people are being so caught up in emotion that they're not allowing themselves to see the bigger picture. They're not allowing themselves to realize when your emotion and your anger can be used for another good, another cause, for somebody else's agenda. And I don't think people don't realize there's a lot of agendas at play right now. There's a lot of people jockeying for position, and this has been going on for a long time. And when they can use the plight of black people, they've done it so many times. When they can use that plight to advance their agenda, they're going to do it. And there's a reason why we're seeing things now. We're seeing things out in the street. You're seeing videos of piles of bricks out in the street for no good reason. There's reasons why you're seeing people stopping people that aren't from the neighborhood from destroying stuff and saying, what are y'all doing? Y'all messing it up for us. People that really care about this, people that are really upset about this, that are out there protesting because they're hurt, out there protesting because they really want to see change. And change does come with pain. Change does come with hurt, and it's not an easy transition. But a lot of the stuff that's going on now is people entering into that mix and hijacking that hurt. They're hijacking your pain. They're hijacking what has moved you to see change. They're hijacking that, and they're taking it and they're using it to advance their own agenda. And if we're so caught up in emotion, and we're so caught up in the hype of the come up of getting a free pair of Jordans or something out there, and or just the hype of now you want to live out your days of playing GTA, and you're out there in the streets having fun because someone handed you a brick to throw through a window, then you're giving it to them. You're giving it to them, because there's no coincidence. There's no coincidence to the fact that the stuff that we're seeing now has been organized and orchestrated in a certain way. We have evidence of it We're going to be showing people that. We're going to be going through a lot of that stuff. We're going to be bringing the receipts. We're going to be showing y'all what we've been seeing. We're going to try to break it down as much as we can with video, so you're going to bear with us. But we just want to give people a different perspective. We understand people are hurt. We understand why people are protesting. We understand where there needs to be change. Trust me, we've all seen it. But where we want to wake people up to, and really wake people up, not this fake woke stuff that is another hijack thing, which comes with a hashtag on Instagram where you put a black box on the screen because you think that that's going to somehow affect change, when it's really some virtue signaling bullshit. And you think that.
Whoa.
What? I mean, no, I'm being honest. I'm just being honest.
It's being passionate.
I'm just being honest. Putting a black box on the screen does nothing. Mm-hmm. It does nothing. All it does, it's not even effective. It's the opposite of doing something. Mm-hmm. Because if you really want to black out from social media, don't engage with it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't engage with it. I was telling this to Dave earlier. Do you think Instagram or Facebook really gives a fuck if you put a picture of a black screen or a picture of a baby or a picture of yourself with a dumb selfie? Do you think that really matters? All that matters is you're engaging.
Yeah.
They're not sitting there like one picture is more valuable than the next. You putting up a black picture does nothing. It does nothing. So what we're trying to do is we're going to try to break down some of the stuff that we've been seeing. We're going to try to show people, we're going to try to give people hope in this. We're going to try to give people hope in this and see where this could go and see people how we can wake up in a real way. Anybody else got anything to say?
You touched on a lot, man. Passion.
I was listening to you. I was like, man, this.
I don't know if you want to go into the clips or what, but.
I mean, anybody else want to speak on just like what you've been seeing? Anything at all? I mean, I got a little passionate, but I don't know.
Did.
Like,
I like it.
I've been like, dude, it's been weighing on me. Like, I'm seeing so many agendas being used and being pushed through this.
Right. Yeah. Right.
I'm saying, like, people don't understand. People don't understand that politics is a game. The way they run this country is a game, and they've developed it so that you pick either blue or red.
Yep.
And no matter which side you pick, there's still only one person that controls the game. Yeah. It's like a chess game. Mm-hmm. There's instead of white or black, there's blue or red.
Right.
Are you on the blue team or on the red team?
It's meant to give you the illusion that you're in control.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And what they also don't understand is that like in a chess game, different pieces hold different power.
Right. Right. And like in a chess game, you have to think 5 to 6 times ahead to make that end move that's going to win the game.
Right.
So they're 5 steps ahead of us.
Exactly.
Right. One thing I wanted to add is this is not just we're watching cause and effect, but don't think that the powers that be don't know how to manipulate a situation to benefit them.
That's what
we're seeing here.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what we're seeing. It's not just white and black. Yes, race is involved, but that's not the real thing that's going on. This is a political move too. You know
not only political, it's economical.
It's all of it.
It's control. It's all those factions. Mm-hmm. We were talking
ideas, ideologies. It's a shifting of all of these things,
right?
And they're utilizing it.
And this is something that people will get lost in and throw you into the mind of conspiracy theorists, but.
No, it's good. Listen, let's put an end to that right now. It's good to be a conspiracy theorist. You know what I mean? Because those seem to be the people who are actually bringing, like you said, bringing receipts.
Yeah. Dave said it's not a game. Dave just commented. He said it's not a game, a con. He's right.
He's right.
Yeah.
He's right, because it's a con to think that you're actually doing something out there. It's a con. They've like, it's almost like a video. Like I mentioned GTA 5, right?
Yeah.
The fact that you show up to a protest and there's pallets.
It's a video game.
There's pallets that someone had to come in with a forklift and lay down. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It's a different kind of war.
Yeah.
It's a different exactly.
Right.
And it's about triggering you to carry it out.
To carry it out. You are the pawn. You are the pawn on that board.
You are the program.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, and it's about your emotions. I mean, you just look at I've been seeing it as like the atmosphere and like pressure, atmospheric pressure.
Right.
And it's about putting you
a little low there, buddy.
It's about putting you in a bubble,
Right.
a contained bubble that they can apply pressure to.
Right.
You know,
Like a pressure cooker kind of thing.
And definitely, it's, you know, of course you got people behind this, but it's obviously bigger than that. You know? It's
No, that's the next level.
and,
That's the next
and
level. You know, what I
it's
mean?
about spiritual things, but it has to do with being put in a bubble where you can be pressurized to do the things that this bubble or the people controlling this bubble want you to, wherever it wants you to move. All they got to do is apply pressure. And what is the thing that causes you to move? It's your emotions.
Right.
So your emotions lash out with the right trigger.
Right.
You know, and that's what's being dealt with. So we need healing.
That's what it is.
You know.
And I think there's people out there that are trying to get healing.
Yeah.
Like the clips that we saw, people that are like praying with the cops, or the cops are having conversation, dialogue.
Yeah.
People are pleading with them, letting them know
Cops
how we
walking
feel,
with them.
walking with them. Like we saw, I was proud of Camden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was proud of Camden. Like,
Barely any news footage on that.
no.
Barely.
No.
You know what I mean? Because because the agenda is
Right.
there's two sides at war here.
And let's
right?
be clear. Like, you got one side, you got Philly
Right.
that's going crazy.
Yeah.
And then you have Camden right over the bridge.
Right.
And it's peaceful.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people are just going into Philly and doing that.
Yeah. But why are they going into Philly? Because it's open.
Hold on, let me read Dave's comment. A man who cheats or tricks someone by gaining their trust and persuading them to believe something that is not true. Yeah, that's a con. That's a con.
But it's not just people praying with the cops. It's also I see people trying to protect their neighborhoods too.
Yeah.
People are pleading. You know, people are
trying to protect their businesses. People
protect
are
their
trying
businesses.
to,
Yeah.
But I want to touch back on what you were saying about the pressure cooker, because what it is no one's going to show that Camden footage because it doesn't fit anyone's agenda. So you figure, well, some people it does. So there's like we said, the red or blue team playing chess here. The blue team is only going to show you cops doing shit bad throughout this whole thing. You'll notice it. You can pull up any news article from any blue team news source, and they're going to show you all the bad shit cops are doing, all the bad shit Trump is doing, because it's going to enrage people even more, sending them more and more, digging their heels more and more into our side of the team.
And that's what
their
audience wants to see.
And then the red team, they're going to do everything in their power, all their news sources, all their news outlets, conservative news, Fox News, they're going to do everything in their power to get everyone on their side to dig their heels in. And in the meantime,
Patriotism.
All it does, it's literally
she's putting up the
this is the
Camden
Camden
footage.
This is the Camden
marching
footage here.
peacefully here.
Yeah, but no one's going to show this because it shows people together. You know what I mean? It shows people together. It shows people rising above what their the two teams. It's like when you being an Eagles fan, if you're arguing with a Dallas fan or something like that, right? And then someone comes along and is like, both of y'all dumb because you arguing over football. It kind of like deflates you. So then y'all like, man, get out of here. Y'all don't even want to talk to that person. It's like, we want to get back into this.
Right.
This argument over, Carson Wentz versus Dak Prescott. You know what I mean?
And it's actually meaningless. Like, it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
And you get caught up in that.
But
place.
you can be so attached to your team.
Right.
You could be so attached to your team that no matter what you see happen, you're going to find a way to make your team. Like you said, this is a war happening right now. People don't realize that. This is literally a war. It's devolving into a civil war type situation where you're seeing factions grow up, factions come up, two different sides. And each side thinks they're on the right side of things.
Right.
So they're just doing everything they can to prove to everyone. And then you have platforms like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook that become the catalyst for creating more of that pressure.
Well,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
How do you feel that you're on the right side when you're destroying somebody's business, right? And an old woman comes out and defends it. I've seen numerous videos.
Right.
Comes out and defends it. The guy is like hitting
her with we have that clip too.
Yeah.
How do you defend that? How do you they're innocent people. They have nothing to do with what
this is how you defend it. Okay, that's one person. That's not what our cause is about. So you can't lump that person in with our entire movement and our entire cause. Just like the cops, because they're the other team, right?
Yeah.
I seen cops shooting people in the face with tear gas cans like 5 feet in front of them. I seen a dude pleading with the cops like we just want y'all to understand. I want to know where you live. I want to know your neighborhood. I want to get to know you so we can have a dialogue. They come and arrest this dude.
Yep.
I've seen both sides lashing out. So you can't just say both of those sides think they're right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, can we go back to what triggered this all, which is this guy. I don't remember the cop's name.
Chauvin or
Derek.
Chavin?
Derek.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's you can't even say that triggered it. Like, I think that's what has been used.
That video, that people seeing that video,
Right.
That I feel like that's the right word.
Okay.
That triggered people. You know what I mean? Because without that video, most people wouldn't care. It's the footage of that.
Right, yeah.
So once you see that,
You see that
you're
guy's
triggered.
face.
You're
You see
triggered.
him.
That
Not only
smirk.
that, but you hear him crying for his mom,
Right.
his kids. You feel it.
Right.
You feel it because if you're a human being, you could understand that. And I understand. I have some. We talked about this, Jamie. I have some friends who are on the police force, and they say by watching that video, there's nothing about that's standard procedure. Okay, so I think people are right to respond, but they're going about it the wrong way.
Right.
You have to seek justice, but they're going about it the wrong way. This is not an open door to go loot and do those kind of things. But what I saw in that video is highly disturbing.
Of course.
I
It
don't
is.
want,
Of course.
and so people are responding because I think people see that, and then you attack, like you said, the baiters, the race baiters, the political
Right.
baiters, the economic baiters. They're coming out and they're seeing an opportunity. So they're working off of people's emotion, like Jake said.
But this is what got me so passionate. It's about, like you're saying, like, because we all saw that. We all saw how terrible that was.
Yeah.
We've all seen it for years. I mean, you can go back and look in the 1960s, 1970s.
Right,
Like,
right. We're familiar with it.
Like, we're familiar with police brutality happening, especially in the black community, right? And that hurt still exists, and it transcends through the generations because it gets passed down, and people know about it,
right.
and so they're gonna see that and be outraged, and everyone should be outraged. But what I'm saying is, you need to pay attention to when your outrage is being used,
Of course.
used to force you
To be a pawn.
be a pawn for someone else's
Right, right.
agenda.
No, and I get that.
Yeah.
I get that, and I think that, like you said, it is a war. There's right and left on this one,
This is the streets of Philly right here. Yeah.
but I feel like part of that is this. If the police had came out right away, like they fired them, but I think if they had made charges and arrest that cop, I don't think this would have happened.
Possibly.
I don't think it would have gotten.
I honestly think that they've been waiting for a moment like this to capitalize off of.
No, but what I'm saying is, if the police had done,
But if it hadn't been this, James, it would have been something else. I'm
of
telling
course,
you.
But I'm
You know
just
what I mean? Like,
I'm just saying they. Of course, you're right. They're looking for it.
Right.
They let it boil over enough, and it starts spilling, and they're like, "We can use this."
Yeah.
But I'm saying that if the powers that be said that is wrong, that's not protocol. This guy murdered that guy.
Right.
Not first degree, but I don't think he planned to murder him, but definitely he didn't follow police protocol, and that's the result. We got to arrest him and charge him. I think it wouldn't have gone this far.
You're right. But like I said, something was going to push it.
Of course, they're always looking for something.
And this change needs to happen anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Like, this is something that needs to happen.
I
right?
think it's like, yeah. It seemed like we can talk about what is going on and what they're doing, but at the same time, like you said, it needs to happen because it has to expose where the hurt is.
Right.
It has to expose the deep things. Like, and most of them people that are out getting stuff, they don't care because they have no upbringing to care.
Right.
So somebody's got to care about them. They're out there because they don't care.
Yeah, and they're a result of the system that created them.
Right.
Right.
Those kids that are doing that.
But they're also a result of strategic
Oh, those are slim. That's an easy pickings.
I'm saying it's strategic manipulation by media, by celebrity worship, by things that, like, when you look at all these celebrities that are tweeting, telling people to go out there and do this, telling people that you're right, like, yeah, let's do, but they're safe in their community. Like, there's the one tweet from the NBA writer that I don't know if you guys saw that. Well, I posted it up in there, but he the first day this started, he's like, burn it all down, burn everything down.
And then
2 days later, he puts a tweet out saying, oh, I just found out they're in my gated community. Get these animals out of here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
critical.
It's like, it's all well and good. Yeah, these are the two tweets put side by side. It's all well and good when you're telling them, yeah, go do that over there. And it's the same thing with, this is what I'm saying. Like, if you're going to say you really want to affect change, but you're so easily, like, people can just lay bricks out there and say, we know what they're going to do.
Right.
And you do it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But
Like,
many of the people who are calling that out are the inner city dudes who are going around saying. So they see. That's why I'm careful to label them dysfunctional in a sense. Yes, I get the concept, but many of them are the ones going around like, look, man, this is a setup.
No, he's talking about people that
I know what he
care,
means.
that are just out there to get Jordans in.
I know what they mean.
Did y'all see
out of that?
Did y'all see the girl out there stole cheesecake from the Cheesecake Factory?
Right. Yeah. No, I get that. But I'm saying the same people out of that crowd are people who are like, that's a setup, man.
Yeah.
Look at what they're doing. Those out of that group of people, that same inner city group of people, are the ones that's
it's
like,
not
look
about
at this.
inner city.
It's
not about inner. Like, making them all a group of people is the wrong move.
Right.
It's about individual.
No, but
individual.
I know what you mean. But that's how society lumps them in.
But
Society's not saying, hey, look at that one's a good one. This one's a good. They're saying those animals, thugs or whatever it is, however they want to label that. You know what I mean?
But then when a white dude walks up and gives you a couple of dollars to go smash some windows and you take it, it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you feed right into that.
You feed into it.
But no one is gonna. The thing is the same enthusiasm that people look at the black kid for taking that. No, the same energy is not to the white guy that paid him the money.
Oh,
I
think it should be.
It should be, but
Right.
is it?
But that's what I'm trying to explain to people.
Yeah. No, I get it. I understand.
They need to see that coming.
Right.
People need to, like, people always talking about how woke they are, and they think being out there stealing Jordans is being woke.
Right.
Juanita Johnson says, yes, it's all about money control. More people locked up, more money they make.
So here's our supposed Antifa organizer.
We're building barricades. Go get everything you can find. Go get everything you can find.
Go get everything you can find. He gives them money.
There's more stuff that we can put out here. Hey, there's 3 picnic tables up here.
Right. So he's the coach.
And these dudes aren't from that community.
No.
So they don't care if you destroy it. And there's so many clips like that. See if you can find a clip where the girl gives the brick back to the car full of people. It's endless. Like, the amount of people that are out there. The cop, we saw the footage of the cop with the umbrella who had the gas mask on.
Yep.
Police issued gas masks.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I think, my mom said greed. Yeah. Greed. I think greed is like, that underlying culprit of it all.
It is.
Yeah.
Because
They're
it's
out to get theirs.
And if you think about it, it's like everything's coming to a head because it's about losing your grip. You know what I mean? And
Who's losing their grip?
The powers that be. I believe, because you don't go to measures that are happening right now, especially with everything that's going on.
Where it's becoming so obvious.
Yeah.
Right?
You don't go to those measures unless you're losing your grip. Even in terms of spiritual things, like, people think, oh, I'm getting attacked. Like, I don't know. There's people who have probably dealt with.
I was just thinking, like, just to your point, like, if you're in an argument with someone and you've been holding like this one little insult in your back pocket forever, but you can't use that unless you really have to. It's when you're really about to lose that argument that you throw it at them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And why would you do that? Because it's about winning.
It's about winning.
Yeah.
But don't you guys think that the result we're looking at now is for the sins of the past that happened in this country?
Of course.
The things that they've done. I'm not saying you guys are not aware of that. I'm just saying, to put it out there, I can't get any that this nation is reaping what it sowed. It planted that seed.
I mean, yeah, but there's mercy.
Yeah, no, I get that.
And you just have to, I think that, it's going to rear its ugly head if you don't deal with it. It's like looking into the darkness. Nobody wants to look into the darkness.
Yeah, but have they dealt with it though?
No.
That's why this is happening.
Right. Yeah,
That's why we're saying
Yeah.
this needs to be dealt with. Like,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
something that
That's what-
has
yeah.
been needing to happen.
Right.
But there's a difference between letting it happen and advocating for change, and being used as a weapon to create a whole nother agenda
Right.
that's not going to fix anything.
Right. Well, let's say
Bitch, don't give no group of black men no prick that don't do nothing, all right?
See how apologetic she is right away?
Why would you give that to them? They gonna get in trouble. You stupid. You a retarded bitch. All of y'all. Why the fuck would you give them to them?
Hold on, wait till they watch till they show the whole card. All of them is.
I don't give a fuck about your friends. I'm talking about this white bitch giving a group of black men a brick to throw. Do you know that shit could get them killed? You know that. Just having that shit could get them killed. Y'all find yourself sensational. Go in the fucking house and watch kick everybody's ass. Go in the motherfucking house and watch let everybody's glasses off their face. Fuck y'all. That's some bullshit. What the fuck is that?
And there's so many clips like this of people that are
I
calling
think people
it out.
I think people from the neighborhood are starting to wake up and realize that they're being used.
There's the clip of the dude that was breaking up the sidewalk, and they tackled that dude and threw him to the cops. Like, y'all, like, get him out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's the clip of the one guy that was talking to the young white dudes, telling them like, yeah, this is it right here. Oh no, this is a different one.
This is John Jones.
Oh, this is John Jones.
John Jones
yeah,
is
snatching
spray cans.
spray cans out of
This
people's
is the
hands.
UFC champ right here.
Give me the spray can. It's not the way, man.
You hear the way? It's not the way, man. It's not the way. They don't want to get knocked out.
But you see, the thing is look who. That's what I'm saying.
This
John-
is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no.
This is what I'm
No,
saying.
I agree
Like,
with you. I don't disagree with you.
they're letting these people come into the neighborhoods. Right. They're letting these people come into your neighborhoods and
Right.
get you jammed up.
Right.
Because like we're saying, what the teams are going to do.
But
what the blue team is going to show all the black people looting. The red team is going to show all the black people looting nonstop on TV. Look at them. They are animals. You know what I mean? And the blue team is going to show the cops reacting to the looting and say, look at them. They are brutal. You know what I'm saying? And it just keeps on. Everyone just keeps getting more and more indoctrinated into their side of everything.
I saw a clip. I don't know if we put it in here, but it was, I guess it was a rally or something near the White House. And it was, I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was like everybody had on Make America Great Again hats. I don't know what they really of course they represent like Trump supporters. And there was Black Lives Matters were going around. So they invited them onto the stage. And the guy who was one of I think he's like New York Black Lives Matters, he was speaking. And everything he was saying, I mean, of course you get a couple people in the audience that are just saying the nonsense of the facts, you know, and facts don't care about your feeling, like type stuff.
Yeah.
But most people were clapping and applauding him because what he was saying made sense,
right?
You know,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, if
what
we
was
can,
he saying?
I mean, I don't. He was just talking about what was going on and why they believe that Black Lives Matter. He says, yeah, I believe all lives matter, but for this case, we're saying Black Lives Matter because it's being looked over,
right?
You know, just stuff like that. He was just bringing up a lot of good points,
right,
to why they're protesting.
And that's probably what it is. We're not listening to one another.
Right.
That's a big part.
We're not listening to one another. We, like you said, we have unequivocally drawn the line on teams.
Right.
And we don't even know what we're fighting for, what the championship is.
What are we fighting for? We
know?
just wrote a song about that. We got a song coming out called Beautiful Eyes. It's about what we're talking about right now. It's about opening your eyes to these things that the truth is right in front of you, but we're so caught up.
And I think that's what it is, though, because listen, if anybody can watch that video, like back to the Mazel, what's that called again? The Mazel Tov cocktail?
Molotov
cocktail. I can never get that right.
Yeah.
That video was that.
Right.
Okay. If you can look at that and say, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
Something is wrong with it.
Or even if if people that are like, well, we need to wait till the facts come out.
So listen, there was one woman out of this audience And of course the camera's right on her.
Yeah.
Right? And she's yelling and saying, got a red Make America Great Again hat on, and she says, he was a criminal. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, that's what, out of everybody in the audience, who most people in the audience are applauding,
Right.
she's yelling back.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people will just
Again,
focus in on
blue
that.
team only going to show that clip.
Right.
Right.
Red
Right.
team's going to find some black person doing something crazy, only show that clip.
Right.
And then meanwhile, we all get more and
Right.
more divided.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think that I know that's why this stuff is coming out, because it has to do with the media.
Right.
And I think the media is being exposed by all the footage.
Yeah.
that we're
Because I have this,
being
none of
seen.
this. I'm sorry. I know you hate being interrupted.
No, I don't. It's just,
I'm just joking. All of this stuff that I have seen, you have shown me, we have shared.
Right.
Those are cell phone footage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They can't
Not-
get away with it anymore.
not
It's
media.
cameras everywhere. The truth comes out.
The truth is coming out. So it's kind of proving what we're talking about
Right.
here, that the news media, it's a business.
Right.
Just like we talk about politics is a business, a game, news media is a game too.
Yeah.
And they, like you said, it's a red and blue team. That's what people need to understand, that what you're seeing on the news is meant to help you further infuriate you, trigger you, to cause you to do that. And then you told me something. A lot of kids are sharing this stuff via TikTok.
I was just about to go into this, but yeah, go ahead.
Right. So that's one thing. I mean, I don't have that social media, but I didn't realize that that's pretty much where the younger people, what would the demographic age be?
TikTok, it's
Yeah.
like, dude,
Like
8 years
like
old
8,
to,
yeah.
30 something.
That's a
You know
huge,
what I mean?
that's a
Higher
wide,
Love, which was like trending. It was
Right.
all I was
Higher
going
Love
through it.
has
It was all
almost
little
300
kids.
videos done on it, and most of them are little
that's a
kids.
wide
little
margin,
kids.
man.
Yeah.
That's a wide margin. So you can get people from 8 to 35 or however old in rage. You got a built-in crowd that you can speak to.
Right.
And that's
then,
what they,
but then take it a step further, right?
Yeah.
So you got a built-in crowd that you can speak to and radicalize on
Right.
any issue
Right.
that you want.
Right.
And whoever has the keys to that radicalization is the one that can push a narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And who owns TikTok?
let's
China.
talk about it. Let's talk about it.
China owns TikTok.
Yep.
Government officials aren't even allowed to have it on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
People high up in the military aren't allowed to have it on their phone.
Now give me the parallel you gave me yesterday.
I don't even remember. What was
You
it?
talked about the Hong Kong protests.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Give
let's
me
go
that.
there.
Go ahead.
So think about this.
What protest?
No, this is
Exactly.
What protest
So
again?
now, if you want to think about it,
Yeah, please listen to this.
what was going on before coronavirus exploded?
Hong Kong
Hong Kong
protesting.
protests.
It was going
Civil unrest.
crazy.
They're,
Yeah.
they're
Civil
fighting,
unrest in
fighting
China.
for their freedom.
Fighting for their freedom, fighting for independence,
Mm-hmm.
raising American flags. China's being disgraced.
Right?
TikTok, huge.
Right?
Right? One of the biggest platforms going right now. And when I was doing the research, not to sidetrack, but when I was doing the research, a lot of videos on TikTok that are being shared are from accounts that don't even have, they have Chinese writing. They're not even English accounts. They're not American accounts.
Right.
They're sharing all of the footage of cops doing shit. You know what I mean? And
Because they know the demographic that has this.
exactly.
Right.
So coronavirus hits, immediately gives them a reason to completely squash the
Yep.
protests.
Curfew. Boom.
Curfew. Everyone is mandatory. They were boarding people up inside of their houses.
Yeah.
Like with
Except for black people. They
kick
them.
kick them out. Yeah, black people ain't allowed in McDonald's. Again, I saw a news article about how Asians are racist because one of the cops was Asian and he let this happen.
Right.
By the way, but it was just funny. It was just funny.
I
like,
heard that the Asian guy,
is his brother-in-law.
is his brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But anyway, so the Hong Kong protest gets ended. We get coronavirus. It spreads all the way here, totally destabilizes our entire economy, shuts us down, puts us in quarantine. We can't go outside. As soon as things start opening back up, all of this footage starts spreading across TikTok.
Well,
Oh.
they saw the incident happen.
Yeah.
They utilized the incident, and then they immediately, like you said, the sharing of it are coming from unnamed with Chinese lettering.
Yeah.
Right? So they're pushing this.
And then now we have a protest. Now we have this massive unrest, civil
Right.
unrest going on in our
So
country.
they had one, and we did the opposite.
Right.
Corona first, and then protest.
It was like a mirror image.
Just flip flop.
They flipped it on us.
They flipped it on us.
They flipped it.
Because what you were saying is they're sharing the footage because that's how most of the kids are seeing this
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah. That's how they're being
It's a weapon.
mobilized.
Right.
So again, it's about how do you shift the atmosphere? What's this?
This is an article saying that unnamed groups planned the protest violence in advance. You were talking about the media, right?
Unnamed.
I just want to make a funny point about the media hypocrisy because CNN, Killer Mike called out CNN, which I thought was cool. Like he called them out and said that you guys are partly to blame because all you do is push fear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All you do is push fear. And seeing their coverage of all of this and how they were like encouraging people to burn shit down. Then when that shit came to their doorstep, right? Now they want the police there. Now they want the next day the military was
They want the
out
police there, and also they said, "Hey, why can't you go do this to Fox?
Yeah,
we don't
yeah.
have a problem with you doing it.
Yeah.
Just go do it to Fox
Yeah,
News."
they should be doing. We're on your side. They never thought it was going to come to their door. You should be at Fox doing this.
In
You
fact,
won't vote for me, you ain't.
Yeah, if
what
you
I'm
don't vote
saying?
for me, you
That's-
ain't black.
That's
Right.
the vibe.
right. And the other thing too, I wanted to point out was as CNN's promoting, or they want to show these footage of the cops doing these things. They spent more time showing the footage of the CNN reporter Omar Jimenez getting arrested than they did any of this stuff that you guys are showing here, which is the bricks, which is the black woman confronting the white kids in the car saying, "Why would you give that?" None of them has showed this footage.
No one's showing that.
Yeah.
No one's showing that.
And you have to ask yourself, because you told me that somebody reported that they were finding gas cans.
Yeah.
Gas cans, randomly
Hammers.
placed, hammers, pallets of bricks. There's no construction, but the great thing about it is this is why your phone is it's a tool too. You can use it. Guys are going around, girls are going around filming the city and saying, "This wasn't here yesterday. That's a setup. This is a setup," because people are catching on to this thing. Okay, like you said, it's really an episode of Grand Theft Auto, man.
Yeah.
You know,
That's exactly what I
like
thought.
even
Video game.
Yeah.
even the way the police, there's a protest.
Right.
You know that there's violence, and you put 6 police cars there.
Right. Empty.
This the setup.
Right, here we
Put them there
go.
on purpose,
Y'all know where
bro.
we at.
They gonna set them hoes right up on the route.
Y'all know what building this is
Come
right
on
here.
now.
I ain't
Look
even
at
gonna
that
say what
pile.
name it is.
Hey, where do them bricks go to? Where do them
This
bricks
is
go
set
to?
up.
Where do them bricks
Yo,
go
that's
to?
a pallet. Someone
Ain't
has
no
to come in there with a
damn-
forklift.
Right.
Ain't no damn construction around here.
I see.
Ain't no damn construction around here. You just gonna set a pallet of bricks right there.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Listen, I did jury duty 3 months ago. Y'all don't keep no bricks right there.
That's right outside the court building.
This
And I'm gonna tell you, like, all the people that haven't seen this stuff, it's not just one place. This has been in every single major protest city.
Right.
People are finding pallets. There's one in it was somewhere in LA. Joe Rogan showed it today on his
Right,
podcast.
right.
Those pallets were lined up all the way down the street.
Right.
Just
They
pallet
want
after
this to
pallet
happen.
after pallet.
Now let's get into it a little bit. Let's talk about the powers that be, right?
Okay.
Because we've shown enough evidence here. We have more, but I want to hear from you guys the spiritual implications. What's this about?
He looks at me.
Well, what
What do you mean? Like,
No, I mean from a position, a godly position. What is this speaking to?
What's happening here?
What's happening here?
I mean,
What's your guys' take? I want everybody to answer, because this is not just about, like you said, teams. This is better than that.
I think there's a
We'll all give our take, by the way.
Right. I'm in the place where I believe, and what I've been seeing is that there is a huge transition happening, and it's happening in the spiritual realm, and it's manifesting everywhere.
In the physical.
I've seen it in everyone's life happening.
Right.
Like there's so many rough transitions going on that people are trying to figure out, and people are being stirred up by that already.
Right.
So it's manifesting.
Right.
And there's a huge shift happening, and like Jake was saying, there's a power grab going on. There's a war going on,
Right.
and it's about who's gonna come out on top.
yeah. To get down to, it's about a humbling. Like, it's about everything goes through, in my perspective, everything goes through the church, right? It's the power. The power is in the church, but the church is powerless, right? Why is the church powerless? because the power has to do, it's not about us. It's about him. It's about Jesus. And I think we're gaining back the power in our hands. Just like it's being let go, we're grasping it.
When you say church, you mean the ideas of what we have church, or you're talking about like...
I'm talking about the body.
Right.
I'm talking about the ones, I'm not saying everybody, I'm saying there's people who are really humbling themselves at this time. There's people who are really like realizing and seeing all these things come up in themselves. Like this is
things are being stirred in them.
This is about looking into the darkness, facing the stuff inside of yourself. Religion is about trying to fix things yourself. You know what I mean? Like how to reason it out, how to fix it, how to take that word and then you just make it make sense to you.
Logically, yeah.
But true understanding of what God did is it's already done. It's just about us grasping it to apply it into our lives. That's really what the blood is. I mean, you look at how that's been so watered down. It's like means nothing now. Because it's really just like, oh, the blood of Jesus, the blood of Jesus. But really, what's the blood of Jesus about? It's the life of Jesus poured out, which is his finished work that took away everything from the enemy. So how come the enemy is doing all this damage? Because we haven't grasped it. We haven't understood it yet.
Right.
So now I think we're coming into that understanding, but it comes from a place of recognizing, I don't know what I'm talking about. You understand what I'm saying? Humbling yourself to say, like, I have no clue. Show me, God.
Right.
And from that place, stuff starts coming up in you. Just like you start seeing it manifest in this world. Stuff starts coming up. All the issues you had deep down inside that you didn't want to deal with, that you didn't want to look at, you know, where you're like, and my kids, dealing with them with the dark. They're afraid of the dark. And I got understanding from just talking to them. Like,
that's a good point. Just talking.
Yeah.
Right.
It's about.
Yeah.
He used to be afraid of the dark when we were kids.
Yeah. I used to be afraid of, like, you know, going downstairs by myself. But it's literally about, like, we don't believe that there's light in the darkness. You know, blessed are those who don't see yet believe.
Or we believe that we're fearful that something scary happens in the dark place.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Or it's like we're afraid to face what might be in the dark.
Right.
But the thing is, there's actually light in the dark. We just can't perceive it.
Okay.
Right? There's light in the dark. We just don't perceive it. Our eyes can't perceive that much.
Right.
But your eyes do adjust, and then you start to see.
Yeah.
But the more that it's not about us going. And I put something up the other day because this is something like artists, in order for artists or creatives to truly bring about creativity, they have to suffer. You get what I'm saying? Like, you have to suffer. You're not going to be able to pull out of your heart if you don't suffer, right? But it's about how you suffer. And that's the key because it's about heart. That's so why soul music is a thing because black people suffered.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Blues.
It's a thing because of the suffering, but it has to be suffering from the right place.
Right.
What I'm saying is that you can't try to face those demons by yourself because when you go in and you try to face them yourself, you're going to get eaten alive.
Or you can't expect someone else to remove those demons
for you
right. by fixing themselves. Yeah. It's not going to work that way.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if every cop in America came to every black person tomorrow and said, "We're sorry, we're gonna fix this, let's do it," like, that's not gonna fix things. That's not gonna change everything. Yeah. It would help some people. There would be healing there for some people, but there's some people that's not gonna do it for them.
And that's why perfect love casts out all fear, because it's literally about communication, communion, like truly heart to heart.
Yeah.
You know, that's where the healing comes, and the application of that blood, that life, is the thing that brings about a different experience when we face those dark places. Because us personally, we don't have the capacity to love. You know what I mean? We end at a certain, and that's where we start going into our reasoning and our logic.
Right.
And we come into the end of ourselves, and then we start just trying to, and I'm going to just put it like this. It's no father because this goes for everybody. And when you look at, when I say fathers, I'm speaking about leaders.
Right.
I'm speaking about judges. I'm speaking about people in authority. No father is perfect in their judgment. So when you go out and you think that you have it all, eventually there's a lot of neglect that's left behind in your parenting. There's a lot of neglect. There's a lot of rejection. The ones you're raising up are going to feel unheard a lot of times, especially when people don't have fathers. Right. And then you got people trying to speak to them. That's why people don't want to hear what you got to say.
That's what they're saying. Right. Well, that's what the narrative is now. Like the looting is our so you can, because you didn't want to hear our voice. So now.
Right. But
this is what
the
you
point.
deserve.
Yeah. Right. Which is partly true.
Yeah.
Which is partly true.
It's the neglect.
Right.
Right. So whose job is it to say, my bad, I didn't see? It's the fathers.
Right.
Right? It's the fathers. You got to say, maybe my judgment was off and I didn't do it all right, son. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And again, I'm speaking to people, not just fathers, but I'm speaking people who are fathering other people.
People who are leaders.
And
yeah.
Because if you take it upon yourself to be all things, you're going to fall on your face. Right. And if you stay in that pride, there's going to be a disconnect.
Right.
In the middle. Yeah. And that's why it says, it speaks about fathers turning to the sons, hearts back to the sons, and sons' hearts back to the fathers. Somebody has to make the case, and the Father in heaven is the one who judges everything rightly. Mm-hmm. Right? And his example was the Son, was Jesus. So he brings back authority, fatherhood, back to us through the Son. That's why he's our example. So it's his life poured out that we accept into our lives that brings about a reconciliation where we can't do it and we have no understanding how to do it. Or else we're going to get frustrated and we're just going to say, you don't know what you're talking about. I can't deal with you as a father. Mm-hmm. Look at how many households have been destroyed because of that. Mm-hmm. That thing where it's just like, and I know I deal with that with my own kids, like frustration because they're not getting a thing. You know what I mean? And that's where the separation comes. And if we can step back and say, I don't know, like, how can you step outside of yourself what you don't? That's another thing. How can we feel like we got to take responsibility for something that we don't even know how to do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, imagine somebody acting like they know what you do and they coming into where you work to try to be a carpenter. You know what you're doing, right? So the moment they come in there, they're found out. Mm-hmm. But on a deeper level, when you have these examples or professionals that are leading,
right,
and we're looking to them as examples, and we don't really know the truth because they're keeping stuff from us.
Right.
Because if they keep it from us, they can subjugate us, right? Isn't that what the devil did?
Yeah.
He literally subjugated everything that he learned from the Father so that he could rule over.
Again, it shows you where all those tactics stem from.
Right.
I want to ask, what is your take?
It's piggyback on them, man. Like, it's anarchy. They want anarchy. It's the last straw. They're grasping at the power. They know that, something, it's a change is about to happen. And
so when you say they want anarchy, do you mean like order out of chaos type thing, right?
Yeah.
Control out of chaos.
Right.
Yeah.
Their order.
Whatever order they deem is fit, right?
But I know during this time, we got to have our eyes open. It's like an opportunity to see, what they're doing, seeing, that there's a narrative that they're trying to push. There's an agenda that's behind the scenes
from multiple sources.
Yeah,
everyone is pulling at their own agenda right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. My take on it is when this all started, the Corona thing, for some reason, I prayed about it and something came to me, and it was Ephesians 6:12, and it says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but spiritual wickedness in high places and powers and
Principalities. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And in a nutshell, that's what all this is.
Absolutely.
So when I think about that, and you and I talk about this at length, I see this guy pretty much like every other day.
Yeah.
And we talk about this. For a long time, we've been taught that this was a godly nation. Now, it was founded by godly principles, but the men that built this were men belonging to secret societies. All you got to do is look around this nation. The men that structured this nation, the forefathers or whatever, were wicked men. Those were not godly men.
I don't agree. You can't lump everybody.
No, I'm not
that.
lumping everybody. I'm not talking about the Puritans. I'm talking about.
No, I'm saying like you can't lump them all. Like, yeah, I believe that you're right in terms.
Well,
of
let me just finish my point.
Go ahead.
Right. To me, if you're a member of secret society, you're not a true believer.
Right.
Okay. And I'm going off of that. I don't know them personally. None of us will know them. But to me, if you join those fraternal orders, to me, you're not a believer. And I look back at those men who formed those things, and I look at the laws and the things that they've written and the way this country was set up, and I feel like many of those things are the sins we're seeing from them, we're seeing now come to pass. That's what we're seeing. I feel like it's a result of that. It's just like this, right? Like the Bible says, if you sin, it follows you to 3 and 4 generation, meaning the individual. It goes from generation to generation. And I think that's a parallel in not just fatherhood, but in life itself. When you commit a certain act, that follows you. And I think that's what's happening with this nation.
I agree. But what I was saying was, like, yeah, there is a level of people who had their own agenda, but you got to look at the Constitution. And not all those people were in secret society.
No, not all of them.
But when you talk about Ben Franklin,
yeah. But even
bodies, you talk about
found,
the founding fathers and a lot of the stuff that they were into secretively does show you where, like, that, you know, it's kind of like Constantine, where it's like the Christian thing for them was just the face you show everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For what?
But this is what I'm
political
saying.
Reasons.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that it doesn't matter, because it's literally about what was preserved throughout time that you can build upon.
Right.
And that's,
I think it does matter, though.
No.
No, it matters in the sense I agree with you. It matters in the sense that this is what it leads to.
Right. But what I'm saying is that, and I'm seeing it from a different aspect, as that you have to pay attention to the things that you can grasp,
right,
and bring into the future.
Right.
That's the eternal. You know what I mean?
Stay focused on the parts that are.
But that's what the Bible does. If you take away no country, no forefathers, if you take away that and you say, look, I'm going to just focus on the Word of God and rebuild my life based on those principles, then no forefathers, no principles they laid out, because they took all that from the Bible. You're not going to be like, well, I'm going to exclude them from certain things because they at least laid the groundwork for certain things. Those groundworks that they laid out there are in the Bible. That's already there.
Right.
So I look at them and I say, the sins that they have committed, whether it is slavery, whether it's sexual things, murder, rape, whatever it is, I think this nation is crying out for salvation through the things that they have done.
Yeah, but I'm just saying you can't discount. It's not about, because it's about generational, like even before them,
Yeah, of course it goes back and further.
There's both of those aspects. But what I'm saying is that the hope is greater than the fall. You know what I mean?
The what?
The hope is greater than the fall.
Okay.
Because we can't. We got to look at what and see what happened, and we can say, and we got to see what the the things are, or the word is that's there, the promises are that we can bring into the future and humble ourselves to the other things.
That's true, but I understand what you're saying, but the Bible says, you continue in sin, I give you up to reprobate mind. That's what has happened here.
Oh, of course.
Right. So this nation gave itself over to sin. Slavery was a sin. And then it led on to other things. Abortion, all
Right.
these other things are a sin.
But in the midst of that is a remnant of hope.
No, of course, but that's the Bible.
Yeah.
That's the Bible, not these men.
It's not, because there's men who have stood in the midst of it.
Of course.
You know what I mean? That's my point.
Are we talking about the forefathers though?
I'm
I don't
talking-
think the forefathers did.
I think that there could be some forefathers that did. I don't think you can lump all the forefathers in with that. I think there are forefathers that stood, you know, for. And the thing is, like, I don't think you can just say that we weren't there. But
Right.
in terms of what
I'm not there, but I'm saying, to me, if you're a member of a secret society,
yeah, but they all weren't. And there's a lot of writings that you can see where they were coming from.
right? No,
You know what I mean?
That's
Through
true. I don't know
history.
all of them, but I do know that, like I said, the principle of these men, the things that they have done, they essentially casted a death wish on the nation without repentance. You can't get healing without repentance. You know what I mean?
I don't agree. I think that the ideas that were put in place.
So you don't think that the sins that were committed, you think that's because these men wrote this, that they absolved of their sin? I don't think so.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that God's love is greater than the sin.
No, I know that.
And so my point is that if we there's throughout time, there's been hope. You know, there's a culmination of the sin, but the sin just needs to be seen so it can get out the way.
Right.
You know, so it can be dealt with.
Right.
And
we're dealing with the things that they've created. That's
but it's deeper than that. Like you can't just say that time. It goes before that.
Yeah, I know, but
You know what I mean, it goes when they destroyed a bunch of Indians,
Right.
and even before that in England and in Europe,
Right.
and when you go back to even Constantine,
Right.
and that's
Right.
what I'm saying. Like,
He's saying you can't just focus on that that time and say that that's what caused all of this, because it's
no. I know that that's you can't. Hell, we can go back to the big Adam
Right,
and
right,
blame
right.
him.
Yeah.
You know, we get to
Right.
the problem, forget all of them. But I'm just saying that I think when a nation is established under God's authority,
Right.
and once those principles get lost in the sauce of what these men were doing, because
I think I agree with what you're saying, but I think the disconnect is you guys are kind of like debating on semantics right now, because it's like what you are talking about is the same thing he was just talking about with the dark places and the neglect of the dark places, right? Because the establishment of the country, like you said, it was inspired by God. It was something that needed to happen. We all benefit from that establishment. We
Right.
all do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even though some do more than others,
Right,
you know, but we all do.
those principles, yes,
Right.
yeah.
But let me
Go ahead,
finish.
go ahead.
But those dark places that were never addressed, those things that you're talking about, the sins of the forefathers that were never addressed, are gonna come. They're gonna come up.
Yeah.
They're gonna boil up,
Right.
Because they've been neglected.
Right.
And one of them is the fact that black people have dealt with what they dealt with, and that's one of the things that we're seeing come up right now. That's what we're seeing being.
And they've purposely neglected to address that is an issue. I feel that
think-
they have.
I don't know if they purposely addressed.
You don't think that the church,
we talking about the church?
yeah, I'm talking about the quote unquote godly, because that's what I said in the beginning. It was the forefathers were godly,
Right.
And I'm saying,
The church that they established.
yes, the church that said, and people follow that, because I've heard that all my life until I started realizing many of them were Freemasons, members of secret society, involved in sex cults and
Right.
all stuff. And I don't know. Like I said, to me, those are still sinful things, and the Bible does say it sins follows you for generations.
But there's levels to it, just
Of
like
course.
everything else.
Of
Like,
course.
because you can't just, our grandfather was a reverend. He was also a Freemason. We found that out after he died. You know what I mean? But
And I don't think he really
It doesn't
understood
mean
what.
it doesn't mean that he was in the club. You know
have
what I'm
to
saying?
be at a
No,
certain
there's levels,
level.
of course.
You know what I mean?
Of
So
course.
like it's not
But I think we're talking your grandfather and we're talking presidents.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's a different level.
no, it is. But what I'm saying is you can't just assume that if someone is a part of something, that means that they've totally negated everything that they believe. You know what I mean?
There's a culture.
No, I get that. I get that. I think that happens on the lower level. But I think once you get to that level where you're presidents, statesmen, and you're official, you hold titles where you can control people's lives, I think you're fully aware of what you get out of that. Maybe the local township guy, maybe not. But once you get to a level where
Right.
you're a statesman, you're a judge, you're a political official, you can change
So
things.
are we talking about the Constitution? Like, what are we talking about?
No, we're talking about the I'm not specifically speaking about the Constitution, but I'm talking about the foundations of the country. And then you come all the way down now to
But the foundation has to do with the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, because it's the basis for the foundation.
no,
It's
and those things are
words.
good. Those things are good.
But that's the basis.
yeah, and I agree with
You
you.
know what I mean?
Those things are good, but you still can't dismiss the sinful things that they did. You can't be like, this guy, he fed so many kids, but he raped 2. So
Right.
we're gonna forget everything that.
Yeah, but I think that it's the bias throughout time that is being dealt with. Like, look at before that. You couldn't even read the Bible, like
Right.
a couple hundred years before that. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
So if you look throughout time, things are being dealt with throughout time.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to say. Like,
No, I
get it,
understand what you're saying.
But it's about
Because
the,
even slavery exists.
Well, let me clarify.
Slavery exists everywhere.
Let me clarify. Not all of the men who were involved in the formation of this country were involved in these things.
Right.
But I do believe that your sins will follow you. Okay? Whatever I have done, whatever each one of us has done, yes, we can we're forgiven by God once we ask for forgiveness. But we still have to deal with the results of sin. We still have to pay a price.
no, we don't.
Yes, we do.
No, we don't. You don't have to pay if you choose him because he paid already.
You commit murder, right?
You-
Wait, hold on. Let me listen.
Go ahead.
You
Go ahead.
murder somebody.
Yeah.
You can go to the judge and say, "I am sorry." You still have to do time.
I'm talking about suffering. Like, there's a difference. What I'm saying is that if we put that on ourselves that we have to pay, like, we're not going to come into the fullness of who God is. Yeah, we're going to have to pay physically for certain things, but I'm saying on a spiritual level, that person who dealt time could
But
be.
Jake, has this nation fully surrendered to Jesus Christ? Have they done that?
What nation has?
We're talking about this nation, though. Have they
Yeah.
done? That's what I'm saying. The sin, to me, they're still reaping the rewards of sin. This is what we're seeing right now is a result of a sinful past.
Yeah, but you got to we all have to look at ourselves.
No, I agree with that. But,
Yeah.
Stan said, "Why focus on the sin?"
Right.
What do you mean? You have to.
No. You look at it so that he can deal with it, and then it goes.
No,
That's what I'm trying to say.
I get what you're saying, but there's still a price to be paid, and that's the result of this. That's what we're seeing.
So you're saying you gotta hold them accountable for the price that needs to be paid?
No, I think this. I think had this nation stood up and apologized for slavery, and I believe that things would be different, but they never acknowledged it.
But you don't think that things happen at the right times?
What do you mean?
You don't think that this could culminate for this time right now?
It could, but
So-
but at the same time, how many years have I think this is a result of all of that.
He said, "So why did Jesus die?"
What?
Stan. He said, "So why did Jesus die?"
I don't know what he means by that.
I guess he's
To-
saying because he
to-
died to deal with it.
For our sins.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the point. If you don't, we have to take that on.
Yeah, no, I get that.
And
I understand
What
that.
I'm saying is that it's our responsibility. It's not to look at the nation and say they are dealing with, no, that's religion. We have to take it on and say, we repent. You get what I'm saying? We. And what does that mean? I shift the way I was going because I have to suffer for it in him so that I can have power to give it to other people. Forgiveness, his life, pour it out. That's my point. Like, that's the eternal time that cuts through time. That's the folding of time. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's eternity that has happened throughout time. And every time we go back generationally to destroy all that sin. That's the hope of his life. You know
And I
what
understand what you're saying, but I still believe that
You're saying
what you do,
basic cause and effect.
but not just that. Not just that. That you give over like I said, God says once you continue in sin, he'll give you over to a reprobate mind. He'll give you over to that. He'll give you what you desire. And if that's what you desire, then that's what he's going to give you and everything that comes with it.
Right.
And that's not just individual.
If you continue.
But what has this nation done? They're continuing in sin.
But
not just with the slavery thing, though.
It's a nation of 300 million individuals. You know what I mean?
I understand that.
You can't create a whole nation as a body. That doesn't exist.
No, of course.
You know what I mean?
But still,
So how do they fix? How does the nation fix it?
Well, let's hold on. Before we get to the fixing, I'm saying they have to acknowledge that there's a problem. There's a problem.
Who has to acknowledge?
I think this nation. We have to.
But who in this nation? Like, how do you?
The people, the political leaders.
Right.
We all have to acknowledge that there's an issue.
They have. You don't think people have acknowledged that there's an issue?
I just heard Trump, talking about there's an issue.
Yeah. And I've heard it too. But I think it's coming out of civil unrest. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
But isn't that the point?
Yeah, no, I get that.
You know what I mean?
But we've been hearing that there's a problem for decades, though. Like, I don't that I've been hearing. I've been hearing people say, we got to address the, like, to me, just saying that there's a problem doesn't fix it.
Right. I think that's part of the problem is that we haven't learned how to dialogue. We haven't learned how to sit down and talk to each other. Whether it's on a racial standpoint or it's an economic standpoint or
so
whatever it is.
How do you do that?
I don't have the answers. I'm just saying that I think that we're not having an honest.
So that's my point. We have to have the answer. We have to.
Right. Okay.
And that's my point. Literally, that's about that I think where you're at is cool, but it's you get so then you look at can you look at somebody and say you that's what you're doing, you reap for what they did, or do you look at them as there's grace extended to you?
When you continue in sin, God gives you to reprobate mind. It's not just for a singular person. That's for a household and a nation.
Yeah, but it takes people within the house to change, becoming a leader.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
No, I understand.
So then there's no problem because it becomes fixed. Because you become the one that distributes it. That's the love. And the love casts out all fear. And it deals with the sin. I'm just saying, like, that's like if you say that, then you kind of give yourself you let it
you absolve yourself of any
instead of saying, no, I'm a part of this. You know what I mean?
No, I think you're missing my point. I'm not saying that I don't want to be part of this. Let them deal with this sin. I'm just saying that you have to acknowledge that when there's cause and effect, and when you do something, there's going to be an effect.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what we're seeing here too.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I'm just, we need the solution. We need the solution. I don't want to talk about what's going on and figure it out like in our minds. What is the solution so I can give it to somebody? Because it's about people's hearts being healed.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. Beyond everything else, it's got to be healing.
That's the only way we get past the sins of the past, the sins that the things that
But in that healing, we have to acknowledge the things that went wrong so we know.
Who are you to decide what goes on? That's what God does. We don't have to. You don't like you're saying. No, you're saying we have to. Dude, that's what happens. So just go through the process. You don't have
the
to.
acknowledgement comes with that.
Yeah, you don't gotta like. You don't gotta say it. It's about you. You gotta humble yourself. You know what I mean? Like you have to humble yourself, and as you do it, the process takes care of itself.
Those walls break down,
and then you can be the thing that cuts through the hearts of people.
But how do you tell the nation that though?
You don't have to. You become, you are the nation. We are the nation. So we become the ones that, us right here, we're talking, there's only 13 people on here. There was 20-something people at one time. We're talking to people. You know what I mean? We're multiplying the thing. But we got to believe in it
Kyle said, "Hey, by the way, guys."
What's up, Kyle? We gotta believe in it, and that's like. And I'm not. I love you, James.
Listen, I'm not upset. We're having a conversation,
but it's just my heart. My heart is for the people to receive that healing because it's
say what
so
you gotta
important.
say, man. Listen, you're not hurting my feelings.
I just don't. Yeah, it's so important that people feel what God feels for them.
Right.
That people see, because it's literally like He took all the responsibility on, and as we trust in Him, we take the responsibility on. That's the suffering,
right.
And as we suffer through that with Him, we literally gain a power to distribute to them so that they don't have to suffer. You know, it's about taking it away. Yeah, you're gonna say a little kid who is innocent in it, but the generations of his family weren't. You're gonna tell them that they have to do something. No, here it is, right here.
Right.
If you accept it, that's all you got to do. It's simple. You know what I mean? It's simple because everything you're saying is true, but the ultimate truth is that He dealt with all that. He dealt with it all. And we got to be distributors of it. And that's that love that breaks everything.
No, I do agree with that. I do agree that God's love can absolve a lot of this in terms of the hurt that we have. But I do believe that you have to acknowledge the past. You have to acknowledge that. You have to acknowledge that there was sin. When you confess to God, you acknowledge that I was wrong. And then once you step into grace, it's over. But I believe that those are the things that we haven't seen.
But
whether it's from the
I
church,
think what he's saying is if you wait on someone else to acknowledge things like that, then no healing, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
Do you know what happens when you step in?
That's like, I'm sorry to cut you off. It's like you're in an argument with your wife or whatever like that, you know, and she's like, I'm not going to forgive him unless he says he's sorry. Sometimes when I argue with my wife, you know, we don't say we're sorry. We just, you know, love each other by action, by walking in it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that's what we're trying to say.
And it's not always about making her acknowledge what she did that was wrong or what she said that was wrong. It's about, all right, let's move past this, and but both understanding that we need to grow. You know what I mean?
So then my point is why research and get into all of that? Just forgive and move on. Why research and find out about what's happening then? You're seeking truth.
The research about the truth is so that you don't keep falling into these traps.
But just forgive them.
But it's about you though. It's about you, because once you stop falling into the traps that get you all excited and angry and upset, then you can transcend.
No, I understand
the hurt.
that. I understand
that allows you to forgive someone and see that it's bigger than them. It's bigger than what you saw on TV. You being able to do that is what helps you transcend that. So that's why exposing things like that is important to me. It's not to use as a weapon to beat people over the head and say like, this is why you're wrong. You know what I mean? It's because I need to know where I've been messing up. I need to see, okay, this is how I got caught up when I was just doing what everybody was doing. You know what I mean? Because it was the cool thing to do. Like, you know what I mean?
It's if you go down the path of research, eventually, I know for me, you're like,
you just get overwhelmed.
I'm done.
I
don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And then you get to that point where you come to the end, right? The end of yourself. That's when you need somebody else. You need Him. That's the point. It's about, do I need Him, or am I fulfilling myself by just researching this stuff? Then we don't really need Him.
Kyle said someone unlocked the door in about 30 minutes. I guess he's coming. I'm just going to mention someone's comments that I didn't get to say because it was a nice, strong conversation.
It was good.
Candace Sloan says, it started over 2,000 years ago, and it's why we are where we are today. The establishment was built on a false God, not the true God. You can't build a nation off the backs of others.
And that is incomplete,
right?
Because there's only one God,
right?
Right. So you can always, all the enemy, even though he might be a false god, he just subjugated the things of God.
Right.
So all you have to do is shift that back to him, right? Nothing he did was of himself.
Right.
He was created to do a certain thing that he was created to be in front of the throne and create holiness, right?
Yeah.
Fire.
Right.
All he did was subjugate that fire to himself, right? To make it unholy. So we got to come back into holiness, right? It's
As a nation or?
as a people.
As individuals.
Yeah,
One by
as
one.
a people. It's not about everybody in the nation ain't gonna change.
I like what Jamie say all the time. Just start with you and your family.
Yeah.
Yeah, start with your
Start there.
household.
Start with your household.
It's not even about church.
No, I agree with that.
You know what
I
I mean?
agree with that.
And that's where you see, like he said, that's where you see the multiplication happen. Because your household, my household, his, now his, are all on one accord.
Yeah.
And now we got a community. And then that community grows. You know what I mean?
But what I'm trying to say is, I get that you can go down a rabbit hole and you don't want to just be,
People cleaning up.
They're walking in it.
you just don't want to be involved in conspiratorial things. But I still think you have to have a perspective of how things start to understand where you're at. You have to see how things start.
Right, because you don't want to blindly be led into traps.
And you don't want to continue to make the mistakes that people have
But you
made
don't
before.
think that the spirit of all truth can lead you into how things start and where they end?
I don't
You
understand
know-
what you mean by that.
The spirit of truth. You don't think the spirit of truth can lead you into all things?
What do you mean, like the Holy Spirit?
Yeah, the spirit of truth. You don't think this, and I'm calling it that for a reason, because if you believe and trust that the spirit of truth can truly guide you into all truth, then that's all we need. Truly, right?
Yeah, yes, in the spiritual aspect, yes.
It's
but
not,
But I
no.
still think you need to understand the world you live in.
Hold up. The spirit of truth, Jesus is truth. He's the word. It's not about spiritual. It's about the whole thing. Everything was corrupted, and it's about bringing it back to the beginning. Everything in this world came from a point. So it just has to be twisted back. You get what I'm saying? It perverted from its origin. What I'm trying to say is that everything in this world has to go back to the way it was. So it's about the material world. It's not about the spirit, but it is about the
It's
spirit.
just like you were saying before. When you were praying about this whole thing, you were led to that scripture that's talking about powers, principalities, spirituals,
Right.
and like there is no separation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't separate the two. You can't say.
Well, there is a separation, but the separation.
I'm saying they don't exist separately.
Yeah. What I'm trying to say is that we're gates.
Right.
And we bring the separation because we're gates. We shut the doors on something and we open it.
Right.
Right. So it's literally about us being open to the right things, and they will be. You know, if we're not open to it, it's not going to be.
Right.
You know.
I understand what you're saying. I think you're probably referring to we are the salt of the world.
No, I'm saying we wrestle not against flesh and blood. What are you doing when you wrestle not against flesh and blood? You're wrestling against the things that you really don't believe, that are true, that you're trying to believe. That's the faith action. And as we truly get a grasp on it, it comes into this world. You get what I'm saying? That's true manifestation of what's in heaven coming into earth.
But even that's true. But even with that, no amount of praying, no amount of is going to stop the inevitable from happening. This is a fallen system. We can cleanse our household, but eventually this thing is coming to an end. This current world system.
But we bring heaven into earth, and that thing don't come to an end, and that's the thing that brings Jesus back. So we can't look at it and think, well, it's all going to a head, so we can't really separate.
No. You don't ignore it. You continue to pray and you continue to live righteously. But what I'm saying is that the changes in society, in the world, in life that's going to happen no matter what.
But living righteously is literally bringing in the kingdom of God. Righteousness comes from faith. So what I'm saying is that the king of righteousness is literally somebody who comes into a place, a territory, a literal territory, destroys it, and raises it up to his kingdom. You know what I mean?
And I get
And
that. I
that's
get
what-
that. But I'm saying, but I want you to understand what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
This is a fallen world. Until Jesus comes back, this is going to continue to happen. This is what we're seeing here.
But what I'm saying is that I get it. But what I'm saying is that it doesn't have to be fallen. We can raise it up. He wants us to start the process. You get what I'm saying? He wants us to enter into that work with him.
Right. With ourselves, right?
Not just with ourselves, within the world.
Believing that we can affect a change in the entire
Right.
world.
No, I agree with that. I agree that, yes, we cannot just give up, is what you're saying. Don't give up. Continue to
Don't
pursue.
even you can't even settle in your mind that it's just a fallen world and it's always going to be like, because then you like he said, you've closed that gate already.
No.
You've closed that gate.
I think you're misunderstanding my point. I'm not saying that you completely close that off, but this world, this current world system has to come to an end, and these are the things that are going to happen, right? The rumors of war and pestilence and all these kind of things, that's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're watching symptoms.
happening now.
We're watching symptoms of this current world system
But why is that happening?
because of the fallen world.
Because the world is rebelling against what it sees.
And it will continue to do that until Jesus comes back.
But what does it say? The world groans for the manifestation of the sons of God. That's not Jesus. That's the sons of God, right? Which has to do with Jesus, but it's literally about us. It's about the bride. The bride has to come into the glory. The bride has to become a bride.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying give up and just run in a cave and hide. I'm just saying that this, to me, like I said, I believe we're reaping the sins of our forefathers, and this will continue because sin continues to exist. That's just what it is.
Yeah, but you don't have to accept that.
No, I don't accept it.
You are, because you're saying it.
No, I don't accept it. I'm going off of this. I believe that we're going to see rumors of wars. We're going to see pestilence. That's just what I believe. I feel that that's what the Bible says. That's what I'm going with, right? So I do believe that, yes, as a person, you can change your life and you can continue to live righteously, and you can continue to pray and be the salt in the world. But those things are going to happen until Jesus comes back. You know, that doesn't mean I surrender and go ahead, do whatever you want. I just acknowledge that these things, none of us can stop that. From a human point of view, so the protesters, the rioters, they're not going to stop this from happening. Yes, we have to turn to Jesus and give our life to him.
I think that we can cause a disruption because, again, it's about atmosphere. If it's about learning the atmosphere, it's about learning the emotions of God, right? To shift the atmosphere. And if we learn his emotions, we become the sons of God that shift the atmosphere so that things manifest. Like, I'm talking about amazing things that you've never seen before.
Like a revival.
No, I'm not talking about a revival, but you could say a revival, but I'm talking about a resurrection revival. I'm talking about not like a revival in the past, but something you've never seen. You get what I'm saying? Something you've never ever seen before. Okay. That's the type of thing I believe can happen. And if we settle for something less, then we won't see it. You know, and that's the glory of the manifestation of what God wants us to trust in, like hope beyond hope. You know what I mean?
No, I haven't lost hope.
No, but he's saying hope beyond hope, like hope beyond what even you think you know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
whatever you think is possible, whatever you think is settled.
You
know what I mean?
I think you've put a limit that you don't realize you put on.
No, I don't agree with that at all. I mean, maybe I haven't.
I think we all do that too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like all the time. I think that's not like something he's saying to you and it only applies to you. I think we all get stuck in even
no, he was talking to me.
But I'm saying
he's saying it to you now in this moment, but I'm saying that it's applicable to all of us and that we do it.
No, yeah, you don't give up hope.
No. I'm saying that we consistently put gates on God. We consistently, because of our human brains and it being very hard for us to see even the good might be possible. We can hope for good, but it's very hard to see it when you haven't seen it. And so I think your point is hope beyond hope is there's good that can come that you won't even know what it looks like.
Yeah.
And being open to that possibility.
And and also we've talked about it before where it's like the word of God is still
living.
Yeah.
What you're trying to say.
But what I'm going to say is like the way the word of God is interpreted by us is filtered through our mind, our brain.
Right.
That's already established a thought process, already established a certain sense of knowing and logic and perception from what we've observed. It's not the fullness of everything. We don't even use the full parts of our brain. So you can never be at a point where it's like, I fully understand this. You know what I mean?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But so then you can never say that this is what's going to happen and it's going to just continue to happen and there's no way we can stop that. Like you've already put a limit. That's a limit.
What I'm saying is,
you know what I mean?
What I'm saying.
So when the Bible says rumors of war, pestilence, that's not.
What I'm saying
That's
to
not
that.
true?
What I'm saying.
I mean,
to
there's
that,
always rumors of war.
Yeah. What I'm saying to
That's
that
what this
It
is.
happens.
is that throughout history, people have been saying that.
Right.
What I'm saying to that is that the Bible is interpreted by the Spirit of truth, and I have to concern. What does that look like, God? In
Right.
everything that I do, show me what that looks like. You be my teacher. You know what I mean? And I think like the stuff you're saying, that's what's happening. But it's just like you have to continue in that.
Oh, I agree. I
You
do
know,
agree that you cannot give up and be like, well, this is what it is. I'm just going to sit back and do nothing because
Right.
it's going to be like this no matter
Joy
what.
said, "This is good."
But I'm just saying.
Jordan chimed in with something really long.
Oh.
Something.
But even saying like wars and rumors of wars, like, because we've learned this just from.
I'm using biblical terms.
No,
it's
no.
not James Garcia's term.
I get that.
You're trying to correct
No.
me.
No. I'm not trying to correct you. What I'm trying to do is show you a little bit of other perspective, because even saying I'm using biblical terms, like these terms are filtered through languages that we have interpreted. You know what I mean? Like even when you go back and you research it through a broader language, which is the Paleo Hebrew.
Well, that's from the Greek.
Well, that's from the Greek, but I'm saying like but a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's the meanings of those words are so vast
Yeah.
that it gets filtered down into
No, of
one
course.
small
meaning.
idea.
Words change meanings. Yes.
You know,
I get
not
that.
only that, it doesn't only change meaning; it changes the grandiose nature of it. It gets boiled down to
Right.
a simple idea that we have grasped and held on to. You know what I'm saying? And we just put that in this little place. Like, okay, I know what that means.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, but you don't.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
You don't. You might have a perspective on it, but it can grow, and it's about precept to precept. It's about love to love. Like we grow in His love, we grow in His grace, we grow in faith. It's all the grace is there, but we just have to have the faith to access it. The faith to access it. We grow
Right.
in that faith. So that's what I'm saying. It's a continual thing, hope to hope. You have to. So when we think like it's this thing, all I'm saying is that no, there's greater. That's all I'm saying to you. Like there's greater.
Let me read
You
what
know?
Jordan.
You gonna read that long?
Yeah, he's chiming in, man.
Go ahead. Let Jordan speak.
Regarding the founders/forefathers Constitution topic, Moses was not perfect, but God used Moses to present His perfect law to the Jews. Despite the perfection of that law, the Jews turned from Him at so many times in so many ways. The failure of the nation weren't the laws or the Constitution's fault, and they weren't Moses the forefathers' fault. Every time a godly framework is presented to a human society, its goodness served not to create a perfect earthly society/country, but to expose man's inability to live up to God's standard and draw men to Him. Basically, no matter what kind of foundation a nation of men is built on, whether sinful or godly, God's going to use it to expose man's need for Him.
Yeah. Sounds good.
I like it. I like it, Jordan. I like it. It's true what he's saying. You know what I mean? Like, and it's the same thing you're saying. It's a fallen state of man that, you know, like the girl with the blacked out profile picture said something about you can't build the back off of nations. You can't build a nation off back of others. They're all built that way. You know what I mean? They're all built that way.
Yeah.
Like even within
Egypt.
Yeah,
Right.
even
they
with,
idolize Egypt, and
like this is how it's done.
Yeah, and he's teaching us how to raise up a true kingdom.
Right.
We're not of this world. It's not about America being the kingdom of God. It's about the kingdom of God being in America.
Right.
And it's about that being so potent that it shifts things for the world.
Right.
Because why is America preserved? Because it's the goodness that's in it that outweighs everything else.
Right.
It's not about the sin. It's about what outweighs the sin so that there can be goodness and be a remnant of him in the world so that we can see something that looks like him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, going back to this whole thing. Why are there police officers out there that abuse their power? It's because they're dealing with the insecurities in those dark places, and they're dealing with them in a way that's, you know, lethal.
It's not just insecurities, though. It's a system that promotes certain ideas.
Isn't that based off of insecurity?
That's what I'm saying. It's based off of, it all stems down to feeding insecurities in a way.
Yeah.
Because go back, any concept of, like we're saying, greed, power, money, all those things are designed to feed insecurity.
Yeah.
So if someone is abusing that, the root is that. The root is that because there's a hole there that they think that's going to fill.
So what's the root?
The root is the insecurity.
And what is that? Fear.
Fear.
It's always about fear.
It's about fear of being inadequate.
And where's the fear? In the darkness.
Right.
You know, it's always about
What the police are dealing with fear, you say?
I'm saying the human beings that are the ones that are creating these problems. The human beings that become police officers that then go on to abuse that power are the same human beings that deal with the fear that we all deal with.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because the police officers, they're victim of it.
Right.
And they just propagate that same victim mentality on the others. Isn't that what? Like,
because you'll hear police officers talk about, every time I you told me about your boy.
Yeah.
Every time I pull someone over, I got a fear for my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all stemming back to that same place. And everyone is working out of that fear. And you see that
right, taking
center stage all through this COVID thing. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that needs to be destroyed. It's the fear, and that's where
but
the
how
sin
do
lives.
you that's the thing though. It's like with the system in place already, right? I understand, like, as an individual, like, you're right. We have to make the interchange ourselves, and we have to essentially be the ones to usher in a change from us, the love that we show and the forgiveness. But from the police standpoint, the world standpoint, how do
like
you
the
do
system
that?
of
the system,
police,
yeah,
the police system
on the building, what's it called?
City Hall.
City Hall. I don't know. On the City Hall, it says, "Reason is the life of the law." Right. So, if you reasoning,
don't most courts use that?
Yeah, or reasoning is the soul of the law.
Right.
So, but if Jesus becomes your reason or your solution or your reasoning,
right,
you become. Can't you reason out the law in the way that he created it to be in the first place? And if our principles...
You're talking about the individuals now.
I'm talking about the individuals that will go into the places of business, of law, of the
people
government.
that become cops, the people that become...
They can go in there and uphold that law in him.
Because even if you tear down the entire system and build up a new one that we feel is like, that we feel like we put all these checks and balances in place, those fears, those insecurities, they still exist. They still will creep back in, and those issues will emerge eventually.
The freedom.
I got a question though. That's a great point, but I want to know how. This is hard because, like, how do we interview somebody to see? Because there's no, you know what I mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean interview somebody? What do you
Like
mean?
say a police officer or something
Right.
like that. If they do have that fear,
Right.
whatever it is, because I can't throw it on the back because I don't know if it's racism or hate or economics. I don't know, so I can't condemn that man, just because the media wants me to believe that. I'm saying, how do we fix a society where this kind of element exists, where, like Jake said, you're upholding the law, you go into this, you become a police officer. How do we have them look at this like you're here to uphold truth and justice, and your emotions don't matter?
It's not. It is. Your emotions do matter.
Because that's not no human being is going to be able to live
your
up to that.
emotions matter.
Until we deal with the emotions, until we deal with the fear, that's going to be always
How
a
do we
flawed
deal with
system.
the fear then? Okay, man, how do
You
we-
said
Better training.
That's
you
not going to
said
do it either.
Ephesians 6. What does it say after that part that you said?
For
It talks about what? What does it talk about after that? When it talks about we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Then what does it go into?
spiritual wickedness in high places.
And then,
I can't remember all of it.
therefore, guard yourself.
Right.
Armor yourself up.
Right.
Put on the helmet of salvation.
But you're not going to say that to a cop.
No.
What-
It's not
No.
Dude, this is about the gospel, the true gospel that destroys the perceptions and the fears that'll be on the cop, that'll be on this person, that person. You go in, you speak the life of, like, what I'm saying is you're not grasping the power that's in the gospel message, not just from a reasoning aspect. I'm talking about a power aspect that will touch the hearts of people and destroy the fear. That's the armor of God, the sword of truth. That's the shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. When you go out, you're going out to destroy the destruction in the land. Shalom. What does shalom mean? It means the destruction of the kingdom of chaos. You get what I'm saying?
Hallelujah.
So
Joy said, hallelujah.
who?
Joy. I
So think about that. Like, we have the ability. Do you believe it?
Of course.
No,
But-
you
so-
don't. If you're saying that,
But think about it.
you don't really.
The same way,
What?
the same way, because
get what I'm saying.
because you want to address it. You want to address it like in the here and now, and say like, all right, how do we get that person to see what we're saying?
Not just police, but because I don't want it to become cops versus black people.
Right.
I want all people to see this.
Right, of
But you
course.
can't go. But you can't go down and be like, all right, guys, you guys are not seeing this in the godly way.
Right.
Because people could be like, that's not my
But
religion.
but it's not about that.
But-
It's not. It's about what he's saying is we have to become it because that brings it to life in the earth, which then, like, it's just like the same way that this energy becomes what it is based off of years and years and generation of programming. We can program in the right thing.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm
And-
saying? But it's not going to be for that guy that's already, like, there's still hope for him. But if we can raise up a community that does it, and then that multiplies and that spreads, eventually that whole way of thinking gets weeded out. It's gone.
It's like this. I just said, what does Satan do? He subjugates the fire of God, right? To his own fire. Truth is truth.
Right.
So anybody who let's not talk about religion, because it's just truth is truth.
Right.
So they don't believe it because they don't really see the truth. They got to see the fire that burns out that false thing. That's you standing in
Who's they?
the people who don't see it.
Anyone.
The people who don't
doesn't
see it.
see it.
The people who are seeing another fire that is the desire in their heart that they go towards. Right?
Because the devil can make you see two things. It can make you see from the side of the police. It can make you see from the side of the looters.
But
whatever
that's
it is.
still the desire for you to justify yourself.
What do you mean?
That's still, either way, you're still trying to justify yourself. When you have the fire of God, that's a whole nother thing. Because now you're not trying to justify yourself, because that self that you tried to justify is being burned up by the fire that you sit before God in. You see what I'm saying? And that's the fire that eventually you become burning with. And that fire is the thing that you bring into this world to burn out the lies. You get what I'm saying? So we become that fire. That's the manifestation of the sons of God.
Right.
Are we going to, do we believe it? Because if we believe it, it's going to happen.
Okay.
That clip you just played,
Yeah, what was that?
that was the clip of the dude that was
The free hug guy.
the free hug guy, which was a good moment. Like, he was out there trying to bridge a gap.
Yeah.
Being standing in the gap.
Right.
That clip. Can you find that clip of the people praying, like the white people praying in front of the black people? Because that was another one that was like, that's a healing moment.
Yeah, that's on the positive thread also. But yeah, what that dude is trying to do is bridge the gap, and you see it that there's people that aren't ready to receive that, even on both sides. Like they're telling him like, "You a pussy? What you doing? Oh, you know what I mean?"
And like even like us right now, we're talking about something, right?
Yeah.
It like the majority of the stuff I'm saying might not even register with anybody,
right?
But if something hits them in their heart and they take that, right, that thing can grow. Mm-hmm. That's the kingdom. Like it becomes this small little thing, and it grows. And
a seed.
If we're not afraid to just speak that,
right,
it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
We gotta believe it.
Mm-hmm. I do believe that you're right. Dialogue does change or usher in change, but I still believe that you have to speak about the beginning. You have to talk about how this started to get a perspective on it so both sides can understand.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about somebody who's hurt, yeah, you got to deal with that hurt. You got to deal how it started so it can come out. But that's just so you can bring that to the surface.
Maybe what I'm trying to say is I feel like what people are trying to do is condemn, and people are trying to point the finger and find condemnation and destroy somebody. What I'm trying to say is I feel that if we are able to sit down, people, just in general, it doesn't have to be cops or whoever, but just people in general, because what I'm seeing here is a lot of hurt, a lot of pent-up hurt, because people feel the need. When I go on social media, and it not that I'm an advocate of this, but it gives me a gauge, a temperature of what's going on. I'm able to see the way people are writing things, typing things. There's a lot of hurt, and it's right versus wrong. Everybody's jostling for this position. I just feel like if we're able to sit down and talk and say, hey, listen, how did this start? What caused this? What are the systems in place to continue to perpetuate these things? Why do the police feel the way they do? Why do minorities feel the way they do? Et cetera, et cetera. And move on, and we can really have I think we would get.
But let me ask you this though, directed towards that idea and that concept right there. How do we get to a place where people are even willing to do that?
That's what's hard. We can't control human will. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's where it becomes beyond what we think we can do, because
it is.
It's like there's no way.
I'm just asking. I don't have the answer.
But that's what I'm saying. Like because everyone is so dug into their side. That there is no dialogue, right? Because it's just going to become a shouting match. It's just going to become, I got to tell you why you're wrong, and that's what it becomes.
Which is why, again, like I said, what we were saying earlier, the news media use these emotions because these things can get away from you,
right?
If you're not willing to have that conversation. I'm not saying give up and the world is going to burn anyway, so forget it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I understand that we're living in a world system. And this is a fallen world system. We continue to be the salt of the world, but I feel like there can be some resolve if we're open to conversation, to have that conversation.
But we got to get to that point first.
Jordan said, if you think the law is the answer, you'll be offended by grace.
I don't know what that means, but tell him to expound on that a little bit. Yeah. But let's play this.
Elaborate.
In honor of his legacy, we're not rioting, God. We're not shaming anybody, God. We're just humbling ourselves before you. Yes, Lord. You brought the thunder and rain today, God, because Satan takes the L today. Father, in Jesus' name, you get the victory. Father, we ask for forgiveness from our black brothers and sisters for years and years of racism, of systematic racism.
That's how you.
Now you see that's
how you bridge a gap.
That is healing right there.
But that's a typology. That's what the church should be doing.
Right.
That's what the church should be doing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's the church. That's what people are doing.
You know, I get that.
But you're saying that's what they should have been doing.
Yes.
But the church, the church, we already know that the church was infiltrated.
At the same time, like everybody is responsible for being like separate in terms of culturally. And that's not the way the church is supposed to be.
Right.
Like, it's supposed to be more diverse, right?
Okay.
But
Sorry.
when you look at churches in general, it's mostly white.
Right.
It's mostly
Spanish.
Korean church.
Right.
You got this type of church. You got that.
Right.
Like where's the diversity at?
Right.
What are we afraid of? There's fear there that needs to be dealt with.
There's comfort in just having church around your own people.
In your own culture, and
Right.
that's not the culture of
And that's
God.
what we're seeing is a representation of, unfortunately, what society is, which is society is segregated, so the church is segregated.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
So that's
Yeah.
what's being dealt with now.
But I'm saying, don't you think like if the body of Christ came together, Korean church, black church, white church, whatever you are, and got together and say, look, guys, this is gone out of control.
It's got to be done in genuine
Yeah, of
love
course.
that comes from him. I'm saying it can't be like if we say it sounds good, let's
Right.
get together.
Right.
It's got to be in unity, and that's the anointing. Like that's literally
But what if they did though?
Like a moment like that,
Yeah. It's
not
it was
gonna-
genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they do, the church is going to come together to ask for forgiveness from all
They're gonna
black
want the
people.
media
of
there.
them.
No, not
It's gonna-
that.
but what I'm saying is like it has to be a real thing,
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean? And the only way we get there is through what he's talking about. There is no conversation that's going to make that happen. There is no conversation that's going to make that happen because it's just two people are all divided,
You mean
Jen's,
denominations?
huh?
You mean denomination wise?
Culturally too.
yeah,
You know what I'm
culturally.
saying? Culturally.
Afraid. Jen me says, I believe a lot of people are afraid of being vulnerable. So instead, the mask are put on, and humility is disregarded. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The mask, and even look at us walking around with masks right
Yeah.
now. Absolutely. It's about becoming vulnerable. And to be vulnerable, you got to be in uncomfortable positions.
Yep.
And it's not comfortable to be around people you don't really get culturally. And it's got, again, it has to be, it's like, example, my wife and my mom had some issues. You know this. And my mom, bless her heart, and she's, grown a lot, but she was trying to love my wife from a position of, I have to love her.
Right.
Because I am a Christian and I have to love her.
Right.
But
And I'm going to love her into loving me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
But that love wasn't genuine.
Right,
Just
right.
because a word says something doesn't mean you've come into the grasping and understanding of it where you can distribute that thing truly.
right.
So she had to humble herself and recognize that. And then the healing came.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were able to mend their differences. And people recognize what's real and what's not real. And I think it's just about being genuine. And
Has it changed the relationship?
of course, yeah, 100%, because of hope.
The work was put in, and I think that's probably what it is. Your wife and your mother had to. You guys they're going to see each other. So in time, I think part of it is we expect healing to happen now.
Right.
I forgive you. You forgive me, and it's done with. But it didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
It takes community.
It takes time.
It takes community.
and that's what I'm saying. I feel like this is not a one-time fix.
No.
This
No.
has been going on for a long time.
But
So
that's
it's
the
going
thing.
to take time.
It's never going to. This is why my whole point in the beginning was it's never going to happen if you keep allowing yourself to be pulled into the trap of division.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%.
It's never going to happen if we continue to take a side on whose team
Right.
is right. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
Right. I know that, and I agree with you in that. But I think I still say that we have to acknowledge where it started, what brought this about, and then go into the semantics of who benefits. And I think from that we could see the systems that are in place here.
I think you don't have to figure it all out.
No, I'm not saying I have to.
No, but I'm saying if you're going to do that, then you're really trying to, I think God leads you through it. I think you have to humble yourself and you'll be led through it.
I have to humbly disagree with you on that one.
Okay. But that's the process.
Right.
Like that's the actual process.
Right.
Yeah. All right, let's play some clips of some of the positive stuff that was happening out there that we can find. Some of these people were out there trying to stop people from breaking stuff. Some of these people were trying to, walk with the cops, and there was some solidarity that was going on that was
Right.
really good. That I want to show because You know, all we've been getting is footage of the negative, people
Right.
breaking stuff,
Right.
cops beating people up,
Right.
and there's a
there are
lot of that going on.
and you're right, man. There's a lot of positive. I have a few friends that are officers, man, that are positive guys, man. They're good guys, you know, and they're disgusted by the behavior they see. And I think we're getting into a place where we want to lump everybody. We see certain things, and everybody's going to burn because of one guy, and I
Right.
think that's wrong.
Yeah.
But we won't stand up for the motherfuckers. They get killed on the daily basis. Talk to me. I understand. How old are you? I'm tired of this. How old are you? I'm 45 years old. 45 and I'm 31. And I'm tired of seeing
This is two different generations of people that seen the same things happening.
As the older ones.
And the older one is the one that wants to break shit. And he's telling young boys out here. And the younger one is trying to explain to him, like,
Coming to protect us. We got to start our own fucking law. I understand. But let me tell you something right here. This 16. He's 16. They gonna kill him next week. He's 16. What we gonna do? You tell me. What we gonna do? This ain't the way. Because they ready to let loose. If the United States president say, if you loot, we shoot. You think doing this going on? I know it. It's doing this going on. But it's time to stand up. So at this point, I'm ready to die for what's going on. Let me tell you something. That's the problem that we got. What you see right now, it's going to happen 10 years from now. And at 26, you're going to be doing the same thing I'm doing. You understand that? 10 years. You're going to be right here, too. But he also got to so what I need you to do right now at 16 is come up with a better way. And how we doing it, it ain't working. He angry at 46. I'm angry at 31. You angry at 16. It's over, you understand me? Putting yourself in harm's way is not the way. No, it's not. You and another your counterparts the same age and that has that same power. Y'all come up with a better way. Cause we ain't doing it. Oh my God.
He's pouring his heart out, man.
his heart out.
And that's powerful.
Wow.
I marched 4 years ago. Keith Lamont Scott did the same shit y'all doing. The same exact thing night after night after night. It don't matter. Come up with a better way.
yeah, I mean,
That's powerful.
it's powerful.
Yeah.
I saw that and I was like, yo, he's, you see the generations.
But you see the weird thing here? That wasn't for the crowd. That was for that kid. Mm-hmm. He saved that one kid.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I think we have this idea that we're gonna get. I want to get everybody.
Save the world.
Sometimes it's just that one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's where it starts.
It's just that one.
It starts with that one kid that he's explaining to, like,
Because you can see the kid looking at him.
yeah.
But it's really not that one because it's on
going,
video.
It's on video, and
You know?
everybody,
Right.
mad people are going to
Right.
see
But no,
that.
I mean, at that moment.
In that moment,
In that
right.
moment, he singled out that guy.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
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 All right, let's see what Killer Mike got to say.
Duty not to burn your own house down for anger with an enemy. It is your duty to fortify your own house so that you may be a house of refuge in times of organization. And now is the time to plot, plan, strategize, organize, and mobilize. It is time to beat up prosecutors you don't like at the voting booth. It is time to hold mayoral offices accountable, chiefs and deputy chiefs. Atlanta is not perfect, but we're a lot better than we ever were, and we're a lot better than cities are. I'm mad as hell. I woke up wanting to see the world burn down yesterday because I'm tired of seeing black men die. And it is the responsibility of us to make this better right now. We don't want to see one officer charged. We want to see 4 officers prosecuted and sentenced. We don't want to see targets burning. We want to see the system that sets up for systemic racism burnt to the ground. In this city, you can find over 50 restaurants owned by black women. I didn't say minority, and I didn't say women of color. So after you burn down your own home, what do you have left but char and ash? CNN, Ted did a great thing. I love CNN, I love Cartoon Network, but I'd like to say to CNN right now, karma's a mother. Stop feeding fear and anger every day. Stop making people feel so fearful. Give them hope. I'm glad they only took down a sign and defaced a building and they're not killing human beings like that policeman did. I'm glad that they only destroyed some brick and mortar and they didn't rip a father from a son. They didn't rip a son from a mother. So we have an opportunity now. Because I'm mad, I don't have any good advice. But what I can tell you is that if you sit in your homes tonight, instead of burning your home to the ground, you will have time to properly plot, plan, strategize, and organize and mobilize in an effective way. And two of the most effective ways is first taking your butt to the computer and making sure you fill out your census so that people know who you are and where you are. The next thing is making sure you exercise your political bully power and going to local elections and beating up the politicians that you don't like. You got a prosecutor sent your partner to jail and you know it was bullshit, put a new prosecutor in there. Now's your election to do it. You want a different senator that's more progressive that promotes marijuana through, now is the time to do that. But it is not time to burn down your own home. I want you to go home. I want you to talk to 10 of your friends. I want you guys to come up with real solutions.
Again, talking about coming up with better solutions, coming up with real solutions, coming up, like, these are the things that people don't want to show. What?
Mom put like 5 times beautiful eyes.
What? She wants us to play beautiful eyes. I know, but we're talking right now. Like we're going through something. We're working through something right now. Yeah. Don't you see what's happening here? What else we got, Rach? I want to just go through some clips, man. I want to play some stuff. I want to see. Oh yeah, this is a clip of. They're guarding the target, not letting people loot it.
This is in Atlanta, right?
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean,
why did they just pick Target? Target's like the target.
I don't know, man. I don't know what happened with Target. John, this isn't a DJ set. What else we got? You know, I wanted to play one of those videos by Anomaly because he uses some clips from Malcolm X, like breaking down the psychology of some of this from back then. That's still relevant to this day. There's this dude on YouTube named Anomaly that I follow, and he does some good videos. Like, he breaks down stuff. He does his research, and he'll like go through a lot. He talks about a lot. I think it's in the Controlled Chaos thread. His are the videos that have like the big red text in them. What? What's so funny? But yeah, I want to look at what he's talking about and then kind of discuss it a little bit because it's what we were talking about in the beginning. You know what I mean? Before we went so deep.
All right. Talk for a second and give me a minute to pull that up.
Okay. All right. What else?
Joy said he should be president. I guess she's talking about Killer Mike.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. That dude wanted.
You see how he threw in? He was like, "If you want weed to be pushed through."
Yeah, right.
That dude wanted Bernie Sanders. Like, you want to live in a socialist society? No.
Well, that's what's funny is a lot of these people that were sparking these riots. A lot of the footage of these people that were, handing the bricks to people, paying people. That dude with those are Sanders people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. And people don't understand that. Like, that's another version of the agenda because to them, chaos and burning everything down is a way to bring in the socialist movement. So they're happy to jump on the plight for blacks. I mean, I saw on the Antifa thing in the manifesto, they were saying like the way to get accepted by liberals is to call yourself Black Lives Matter. You know what I mean? Align yourself with Black Lives Matter.
That's what religion is literally about, strategizing.
Right.
I'm not talking about I'm talking about any way we try to strategize, that's religion, and we do it on a consistent basis.
Right.
That's what religion is. So, because it's about how we can put ourselves on top.
Is this what we're talking about, this
Yeah.
guy?
Yeah, let's watch this.
Doing some real investigative analysis. Watch this video of a black citizen of Minneapolis tell a white protester to calm down and stop causing chaos.
Time did we say to y'all not to speak how you feel and say what you want to say? That's not what we said. We encourage that. But one, we gonna keep our social distance, and we not gonna allow somebody in the crowd to throw some bullshit and then we feel the bulk of that. We not allowing that no more. Okay? That's the reality of what we're dealing with right now. All right? Like I said to all my white brothers and sisters, we appreciate y'all being out here and supporting us. But this is not y'all space. This is not your space. Period. We don't need this bullshit right here. Because what our reality is, when this shit is all said and done, when we wake up, we still gonna be black in America. In the same community. Now that's not nothing against none of y'all. That's not what this is. That's not what I'm saying. But we're not gonna allow y'all to go up there and start causing chaos and confusion. It's just not gonna happen.
Interestingly enough, the Minneapolis police chief says many people involved in the rioting and looting are not from the city. I can't speak for all people. I'm sure some of it is spontaneous and organic. But what's the deal with this masked umbrella guy smashing the windows at the AutoZone?
That's why I'm doing this to you guys. What the? I ain't got part of that shit.
The guy, a dude goes up to him like, yo, what you doing? That's the dude they found out was a cop, right?
Yeah, they asked if he was a cop.
Yeah.
That's the dude they found out was a
I'll
cop.
do my little bit. Those cops will come for you if you're pulling that crap.
This is what started it.
Yeah, in Minneapolis. This was like one of the first incidents. Yeah.
Pulling that shit.
Because before that, it was kind of just people
just protesting. Yeah. Just walking peacefully.
Now on that door, they said that someone
If you
said that.
follow up on this clip, the weird part is the protesters don't even seem to know who he is and actually chase him down to complain about what he did and almost gets in a fight with him.
Pause it real quick, Rage. What was you about to say about the door?
That's right there. So a girl said he spray painted that on the wall before the window started, because people in the background like, what
does it say there? I can't even see it.
Free shit for everyone.
Free shit for everyone.
Zone.
Yeah. Right.
He spray painted that before he started breaking the windows, because he came from the back there.
Mm-hmm. And then you see him.
So people are trying to confront him.
Yeah, and he's trying to get out of there.
Guy just came with a hammer and smashed the windows.
What's the umbrella about?
You wanna go? What's up?
I think that's a symbol.
Symbolizes
something.
I don't know what the umbrella's for, man. It's weird.
So the guy in the pink is like trying to confront him.
Yeah. With his pizza.
Someone asked him if he's a cop. And then come to find out that his ex-wife identified him, right?
Who's that?
Sound like a gunshot or something.
To make this story even crazier, it's reported that George Floyd and the police officer who murdered him worked at the same nightclub called El Nuevo Rodeo Club. Chauvin was our off-duty police for almost the entirety of the 17 years that we were open, Santa Maria said, who was the ex-club owner, I believe. And obviously when things are so new, we're gathering information as the days go by. I can't confirm this, but apparently City Council VP Andrea Jenkins seemed to think that both of them worked there for 17 years together and definitely knew each other.
You know, I think it's really interesting that right across the street from where Allie is standing is a restaurant called El Nuevo Rodeo. George Floyd worked at that restaurant. So did Officer Chauvin. They were both bouncers at that restaurant for 17 years. So Officer Chauvin He knew George. They were co-workers for a very long time.
So multiple things.
Something weird
First of
about
all,
that.
what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a bunch of pain, anger, outrage, and chaos. But the more you look into this situation, the sketchier and sketchier it gets, like the stuff I showed. And obviously, I like compassion, sympathy, and empathy, and people saying real stuff. But when something like this happens, every opportunist, phony celebrity, and corporate-backed activist just comes in to pour fuel on the fire with no real direction. You might not like believing that every liberal celebrity and activist doesn't have your best intentions at heart. But this isn't a new concept. Malcolm X talked about it years ago. Check it out.
Today, you could point to a large number of Negro leaders who have consistently betrayed Negroes in a whole host of areas.
They aren't really Negro leaders. These are puppets that have been put in front of the Negro community by white liberals. These are parrots that have been put in front of the Negro community by white liberals. You can't name me a Negro leader who has been betrayed Negroes, who has not been endorsed, sanctioned, subsidized, and supported by the white liberals.
And to be honest, the more I listened to him speak about phony puppets in every community, he didn't hold back. He talked about Jewish, white, black, conservative, liberal. The guy was on point, and I'm guessing that's why we don't learn that much about him in history class, and I'm going to do a whole video explaining more about him later this week.
All right, cool. So I want to go to the next video he did, where I think it's more in the celebrity thread, the celebrity politics thread, because he did another one, and he used another clip from Malcolm X, like he said he was going to do, and he breaks down a little bit more of like the celebrity stuff and how like Michael Moore and all these people were speaking out, you know, and telling people to burn down these neighborhoods that they don't want nowhere near them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But what about saving the planet, Mike? Yes.
Yeah.
Right. I've seen
but
some stuff from him.
It's with a 0 as the O.
Oh, okay.
Perspective.
Oh yeah,
What do you think?
We have to get so specific, and what I mean by that, we have to stop. We have to say this. Why you don't do that is the person that
Talking about it is actually.
I mean, is a
like that. Michael Moore had some choice words for the Minneapolis protests. He said, "Good citizens burning down the evil police precinct in Minnesota after all police were out and safe. All police should go home. No violence, please. Police headquarters must be demolished by the city tomorrow as a show of contrition to black America, until we could get people of color there." What you might not know about Michael Moore is he's a multimillionaire, $50 million, has upwards of 9 houses, and would never take part or live in these areas. I mean, that's of minorities. If I recall, I believe there was a Malcolm X explanation for people like this. Let's look.
There are many whites who are trying to solve the problem, but you never see them going under the label of liberals. That white person that you see calling himself a liberal is the most dangerous thing in the entire Western Hemisphere. He's the most deceitful. He's like a fox, and a fox is always more dangerous in the forest than the wolf. You can see the wolf coming. You know what he's up to, but the fox will fool you. He comes at you with his mouth shaped in such a way that even though you see his teeth, you think he's smiling. You take him for a friend.
Malcolm really nailed it, and that's the problem with a lot of these people in Silicon Valley or a lot of the celebrities in Los Angeles. They live in the hills. They live in multi-million-dollar mansions and gated communities. They don't live in the streets of Minneapolis. They're not at the protests. In fact, when CNN got attacked, all of a sudden they changed their tune on what they thought the protests were. You even had people tweeting out, no, not us. Go attack Fox News. We're your friends.
But I'd like to say to CNN right now, karma's a mother. Stop feeding fear and anger every day. Stop making people feel so fearful. Give them hope.
At the age of 12 years old, I shot myself. I was in the house. Police knocked on the door. I was right there. They knocked the door down. Everybody jumped over my body to go get the guns and drugs and whatever they could find. It took one guy to stop right there and cuss everybody that hopped over me out. Like, what the f*** are y'all doing? They say, oh, no, we was going to see if it, what the f*** are y'all doing? We called the ambulance. A ambulance, do you not see this kid on the floor with this hole in his chest? Say, you drive, pick me up, brought me to the hospital. He didn't drop me off at the ambulance and say, you take him. He brought me to the hospital room and made 2 and stood there and waited till the doctor said he's gonna make it. He said, "Don't worry, my name's Uncle Bob." He was white as snow. The that hopped over me was blacker than me.
Was he a cop?
Yeah, he was a cop, and my life was saved by a white man. I don't know what racism is. I know a good named Uncle Bob, though.
That's a good story.
Yeah, it is.
But going back to the Malcolm X clip, when he's talking about that, the fox of the white liberal that comes in and is worse than the wolf, right? It made me think of these people that are out there pretending like they're a part of your cause. We're out here to protest with you, but take this brick though. You know what I'm saying?
All I saw was Joe Biden sitting back and smiling.
Yo,
That
did you
big
see?
smile he
Did you
had when
see
he
his
said that.
his photo ops he was doing out
I'll pull
at
it
the
up. Give me
fake
a second.
areas of the protest? But yeah, like what he's talking to, he's speaking to that type of person who is gonna capitalize off of, because the wolf is the KKK guy. The wolf is the white supremacist. That's the
They're
one.
easy to see.
Right. All right, come on, man. Come on. Now you interrupting. Nah, the wolves are what he was talking about. Are the wolves are those type of people. But the foxes are the ones that make you think they're your friend. They make you think they're down with your cause, but really they're leading you into the slaughter.
Or you could say the wolves in sheep's clothing.
Yeah, same thing. But you know, these people are going to these protests and creating the chaos so that you can take the rap for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that you can bring in the chaotic environment that now pushes their agenda.
So you can say that this has been going on. If he's talking about that and it's relevant now,
Yeah.
that has been going on for quite some time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look at the pictures of him posing up. Taking pictures out there like he's down. Come on.
Because why? You gotta weaponize it.
Right. You gotta don't ever let a tragedy go. What is it? What's the phrase?
to waste,
Go
right?
to waste. Yeah. Never let a good tragedy go to waste. Everyone, and that's what we're talking about. Everybody is using this as some type of way to advance their agenda.
Right.
But we got to stop feeding it to them.
But don't you think, like I was saying to you earlier, don't you think the police are seeing stacks of bricks? And how come they're like finding cans of gasoline? How come they're not reporting this though?
They are.
The police?
Yeah, there's mad news stories about, you know, police departments all over the country saying we found this, we found stacks of bricks.
I'm saying
we found.
Why don't they look? Who's dropping off these bricks here? You know what I mean?
Who's going to tell them? It was me.
No,
You
I'm
know
just
what
saying. Like, say I see okay, so you put an initiative out. Find out who dropped these. Like, go through cameras on the street to find out who dropped this off.
I mean, they possibly could be doing that. You don't
Right.
know. Like, it's just happening. You know
Right.
what I mean? And now they're occupied with people. You know what I mean?
Right. To see who these people are that are setting this up to get to the bottom of this.
Certain people don't get it twisted. There's mad news articles of people that are
I'm seeing it.
that are being arrested.
Yeah.
They're finding out who are the ones that are causing.
They're going to their houses.
Yeah, they're going to their houses and arresting them.
and
They're-
prosecuting them.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Like they're finding them. So
the fire starters, because that's what you dropped that off, and then that guy who dropped it off, he got an initiative from somebody.
Right.
You know.
It's funny. I was thinking about that. Like, we grew up watching all these action movies.
Mhm.
That like it's just bad and good.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this evil, and they make it so simple.
Yep.
Right. And they just program you to look. That's the evil one.
Right,
You
that's
know
the
what I mean?
bad
That's
guy.
the one right
That's
there.
the bad guy.
There he is, right there.
Yo, I was thinking about this the other day. Me and you talk about this all the time. Patrice O'Neal, right? I wanted to find this clip and I forgot. Got too busy. But there's a specific clip where he talks about it with Opie and Anthony. He talks about how like white people don't understand why black people will just be mad at all white people because they don't have a Hitler. They don't have a guy that they can say, you're the one that did
There's
this.
not the embodiment.
Right. They don't have the embodiment. Like that's something that they were never given. You know what I mean? So it makes it, but
black people you're talking about.
Yeah. But now you see that they propped up one to point at, who is Trump for everybody now. So it's now that the media is going to dig into that and just keep showing you, like, look at this dude, look at this dude. He's the one. He's the reason why everything is bad for you. He's the reason. You know what I mean?
No one wants to talk about the guy who created the crime bill.
Right.
Right. And
Right.
the systems
exactly
that caused this.
Right. And all the people that were all the politicians, everything throughout, like you said, this has been going on for generations.
Amy Klobuchar, who is she was the governor?
She was running for.
Well, she that guy's file, Derek, the officer that killed this guy.
Yeah.
He has quite a long file.
And she never prosecuted him.
Yeah. And then she came out and spoke out against it. People are like, wait a minute, you had the opportunity
to get this dude off the streets.
Cop.
Yeah.
You know, that's why there's files so people can make complaints. And when you have a certain amount, you got to pay attention to that guy. This guy could be a problem.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Because the corruption
goes... No, of course not.
The corruption goes all the way to the top. You know what I mean?
But she used it to be like, I feel your pain.
Yeah.
No, she doesn't.
But that's the same as people, like we know some of the people that are putting up these black boxes on Instagram. I know how you really think and how you move. Like you ain't you don't care. You know what I mean?
But think about people in these positions, they're really scared because they're not calling anybody out. They're not holding anybody accountable.
Right.
And not to say there aren't, because I know there are people around the country that are holding people accountable.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I saw that one video with the dude, he like pushed a girl on her knees, and then
the woman came out.
The woman cop,
the Jamaican cop,
like
came
snapping
out
on her,
snapping
on him.
Yeah.
So there's definitely people out there, speaking, but
Sincere said facts.
But they're just
let everybody know that
there needs to be more of that, and I think this is starting to show like we need to talk up. We need to speak up.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, I'm not familiar with I'm just finding out about this black screen or whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
I think people feel they're not really about change. To them, the most they will do is participate in these little things.
Right.
It's not, you're not doing anything. That's the best they'll do is I can do this. This is the best I can do is participate in this.
Go ahead.
And I'm not with the guilt. I'm not with the
Andrew Schultz was.
I saw it.
You saw that?
The Indian comedian?
Yeah. Where he was just saying blackout.
That's what I was thinking when it's a way to show that you care, but
we're up to boycott.
But is any of it really of any importance?
No.
I mean, him dying, anything, any of it.
Here we go.
He likes to talk.
Here we go.
He like,
because there's things that are going on that have never been dealt with, and people got emotional scars and wounds that need to be dealt with. You know what I mean?
Like what, though?
Like, just feeling like they're second-class citizens. People feeling like they don't have the rights to do certain things. People feeling like...
But aren't these feelings all just a personal thing people deal with on their own? Because how can anybody or anything make you feel a certain type of way?
That's a deeper issue.
Yeah. I mean, if you go through torture and you go through torment, you go through things in your life.
People go through torture and torment by themselves as soon as they put something in their mouth that doesn't belong.
No, that's
a difference.
But that's a difference because that's a comfort because of the torment.
See, this is the thing. Like, you get what I'm saying?
I hope y'all can hear him because he's talking.
No, I'm asking questions for the
No, I'm saying I hope.
I'm black as the nigga. I'm black as you feel me?
But you're speaking of something that people don't. You're speaking of something that people are doing, not knowingly. You know what I'm saying, or knowingly, but it's not in a way where it affects them immediately. It affects them in the long run.
So it affected these people that this black guy got his neck stepped on by a cop.
No, it affects them in the way where they feel like that could be them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like
if it because it keeps happening, because it's been happening for generations.
Worse things have been happening than that.
You're right. You're right. But that's still something that exists though.
Part of this because of this.
I agree with you.
I think this is what everybody wants to be a part of this whole. Nobody. It's pointless. If 30 motherfuckers get their nuts snapped on and it's no point to none of it. People have to die anyway. Everybody should die if you really think about it. Because who's really doing anything the correct way?
And that's a hopeless way to see it.
No, that's not a hopeless way.
Yeah, it is.
Hopeless way to see is doing the things that every last one of us do every single day, and then try to put something towards it, like, oh, I'm doing this great thing.
That's just a different version of hopeless.
But nobody,
that's just a different version.
Nobody is perfect.
Yeah, it's
so everybody should die.
No, because you can.
Again, that is a hopeless way of
That's not a
saying
hopeless way.
it. It is.
The planet will be beautiful if everybody died.
And then you wouldn't be here.
Oh well, everything else will be here, and the birds and the squirrels and the bears. Everything will be wonderful without us.
But that's your opinion.
No, that's the facts of life.
No, that's your opinion.
No, that's not an opinion.
That is an opinion.
What wouldn't be better without human beings here?
First, I mean,
What would be better?
Why are we?
we're talking about something that never even, that doesn't even happen.
I would really like. I don't talk on the conflict because it's like, all right, so what? Black dude died. Okay, white dude died. Spanish dude died. Oh, so what, nigga? What about all the things that we're destroying on the planet that's not like in human form?
But you're talking about something that we don't even know.
What about the cow that died that you eat?
Okay.
What about him? He didn't have a family. He didn't have an emotion.
A cow ain't a human.
This is the problem. Why everybody needs to die?
Why? Because you say so?
No.
That's your opinion.
Why is it your opinion that the cow, because it's not a human?
Well, what about the cow that died so you could wear them slippers?
Yeah, listen, what about everybody needs to die?
What about them?
This is not leather. Everybody.
But you got leather shoes, nigga.
Listen, and like I said, the stupid things we done, but that we do. Did I say you?
Right.
We.
But that doesn't mean that we deserve to die. Who?
If we're not doing what the best that we can do, and really.
What does that mean? What does the best that we can do mean?
Better than everything that we're doing every day.
But everybody has the opportunity to get there.
And if you feel like
everybody
you're
has
doing
the
it,
opportunity to get there. That's not up for you to decide. Like everybody has to get there on their own.
Why is it up to anybody to decide to feel a certain type of way that?
Somebody just called you Thanos. But he said everybody. Thanos wanted half of the population to die.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. I don't care about
It's comic books.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
yo, why don't you come over here?
Nah, because you know why I don't.
Come over here.
You know why I don't? Because
I don't want y'all fans to be like, yo, something is wrong
they're already saying, oh no, he's Thanos.
Nah, listen. Everybody has the ability to get better.
But everybody has the ability, but nobody uses that ability. Nobody does.
But that's your opinion.
Are you using it?
No, I'm still not great.
But are you using the ability to be better?
I mean,
in your mind.
I'm doing a little better than
okay, so then that's something, right?
But you can't look at everybody else and judge just based off of your.
But it's not based off of me.
It is.
I'm not judging, no, because I said we all deserve to die. I didn't say you, nobody. I'm just sitting here saying.
But I'm saying we don't deserve to die.
That's a bit extreme,
That's just
bro.
That's.
If we kill a spider, if we kill a bird, if we eat like everybody, if you these. This is
but animals kill each other too.
Okay.
So they deserve to die too.
They kill each other for survival. They don't just kill and be like, all right, no, they eat it, or something else comes and eats it. You feel what I'm saying?
But we eat cows.
No, you don't.
And it's
kill a cow,
delicious.
Eat it and use every part of it like you're supposed to.
But either does a lion. A lion eats what it wants and leaves the rest.
And what comes and finishes it.
Not something.
Either you gonna come on this side.
No, I'm saying all you're saying is your opinion.
He's worse than Thanos.
You do. You say everybody should die.
Why should we be here?
Because we have the opportunity to be better.
Yeah, but okay, but who's taking that opportunity?
A lot of people are. I am.
Yeah.
Listen,
I am. I'm taking the opportunity.
I am.
How?
Tell me I'm not.
We're not.
I am.
That's your opinion.
That's your opinion.
And that's your judgment.
That's your opinion.
That's your judgment.
A reality show, a video, a song, everything that you really do is your own opinion and the judgment.
Exactly. But but that's yours. So we have a different one than you.
Yeah.
But okay, so that's what I'm saying. I'm just asking, like, okay, like.
But why ask something that you really don't want to know the answer for?
If you just want to, yeah.
You don't want to know the answer.
Yeah.
You don't. You're not really. What I'm saying is.
What's the answer?
This is what I'm trying to tell you.
You said
you don't really want to know an answer. You just want to tell us what your answer is.
Look.
So then why ask?
You asked us why everybody shouldn't be killed and everybody shouldn't die.
I said, why shouldn't everybody just die?
And I said, because everybody has the opportunity to be better. That's the answer. Okay? But so don't even, that's the answer. So, but see, you don't want the answer. You don't want the answer. You want to just.
Opportunity to be better.
So you're asking so that you can try to make your point.
We don't. No, I'm not making a point. You're not used to stop killing animals.
No,
nobody won't do that.
Animals are still going to kill each other.
No, but people won't have them in farms have them live in a certain type of way.
You could have animals and not in farms. And they did it for centuries. What are you talking about? They did it for centuries.
Listen, the way they milk cows.
That's now. That's now.
We getting off a topic though. We're getting off a topic.
How can you ever get off a topic when there's so many topics in the world?
Because we're talking about this thing right here. We're talking about this. But you can't come from one side and try to come into our conversation and then totally
disrupting the whole thing.
But you gotta respect what we're doing.
All the people in the social media that's on there, how do you know what they're really thinking and saying if they're not typing it? You're saying that I'm in the
Yo.
How do you know they're not thinking what I'm thinking?
What I'm saying is that
there's nobody writing. There's nobody writing saying they all should die.
Yeah. But how many people? How many people are thinking that but don't write it? Like y'all was just saying. You feel?
Listen. You asked the question. We gave you the answer. Yeah, we did. You don't want the answer, just like he said.
What you call it?
Opinion.
Exactly. That's our opinion.
But it doesn't align to what you think.
So now let that go and stop trying to push what you want to push. You are, bro. You asked us a question. Okay. No. You asked us a question. You asked us a question. We gave you an answer. There it is.
But you saying I'm trying to push what I'm trying to push.
Because you don't want to hear the answer. You want to just tell us what your answer is. You always do that. Told us all the shit you think.
I think I'm saying I don't.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's a wrap.
Ended there.
No, don't cut it off. Why y'all cut it off so early?
It's done.
It ended.
Oh no, it's back. It's still back. It's back. All right, y'all. We're gonna get out of here. It's already 2.5 hours.
People have nothing to do right
now. We done. You killed it. You killed it. All right, y'all.
Hey, Ariana. Before we leave,
we was gonna try to do some music tonight. Maybe next time. We're planning on doing some music on here, doing some songs. Maybe next time we'll hit y'all with that. But we appreciate everybody who stuck with us, everybody who watched, everybody who dealt with that last little craziness. But we'll be back next week. Make sure y'all check out the Patreon, the YouTube, Jatan.com, all that good stuff. We got music coming out. We'll see y'all next week.
Young Lion, go live, yeah. Young Lion, you rich, yeah. This